Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show here. We've got ourselves the usual group of hexagons as well as a special guest joining us today. So first off, Slava Ukraine, everybody. Thanks for being here to show the support. And let's show some support to our fresh new friend and guest here, James from YouTube channel Why Ukraine, The Last Alliance. Welcome. Hello.
Yo, awesome. Thanks for having me. Yo.
So give everybody
I'm not on mute, am I? Okay.
No, you're not on mute, dude. You're good.
Yeah, I hope we don't have a latency issue there. But let everybody know what's going on over your channel, what you up to, and why should everybody be running over to sub you, because we're going to be dropping the link right now.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. So I have a YouTube channel. It's Why Ukraine, The Last Alliance, and I am an American in Ukraine. I was in the International Legion for the defense of Ukraine, and I will be going back. So what I do is report the viewpoint of people here in Ukraine and talk about like what Ukrainians are thinking as much as possible anyway. And my group, if you join my Discord and all of that, I have as you can see here, I have a website where we're raising money and donating things to the International Legion and specific units in the International Legion. And in our Discord group, we're trying to come up with ways to specifically, help Ukraine. So that's the deal.
Excellent stuff. Excellent. So yeah, happy to have you with us. We'll get the shilling done and make sure everybody knows to run over and support your channel as well in the good fight. So yeah, we got our regulars here. We got Commander McMillan, of course. We got Jana from Project Constantine with her cool microphone. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks,
nice,
guys.
congrats.
It's awesome.
Yeah, hear that? Oh yeah. And we also have a video coming up from Pete. And we also have a video that Jana will be sharing with us as well. We got Rick, the Ukrainian here, buddy. How you doing?
Hello, guys. Happy to be here as always. Doing great. Have something to tell you as always. Something to sell to you as always.
Cool.
Let's go.
Cool.
I hope I sound much better this time, because me and Dick, we spent 2 evenings trying to fight this thing, and I think we did it. Thank you.
Yeah, I think we're really close, man. It's coming through great. And we got Secular Sakai here from Tridents Against Tyrants. I said it properly that time. Come on, I need a medal for that at least, right? How you doing, buddy?
Yo, I'm good. Tired,
Awesome.
but good.
Yeah. Well, you're a busy guy, man. Real
I was
life
about
plus
to ask, Did you say Sakai with C or with K?
I kind of slur it so you can pick for yourself.
Because I know Rick always spells it with a C.
Yeah.
If it pronounces it with a K, so that's the difference.
Yeah.
If it were with a C, it'd be secular sesai, and I don't know, that just sounds
hard C.
Yeah, especially in Ukrainian, it sounds strange, to be honest.
Oh yeah,
that's funny.
Wait, does it mean something in Ukrainian that we don't know about?
No, just reminds me of some words when I was like 10 years old. I would be laughing at this when I hear something like this. So yeah, let's not go with this. Fortunately, I'm not 10 years old anymore, so it's not funny.
Yeah,
let's go.
Yeah, and then last year, but definitely not least, my partner around here, we got Duncan as well. How's it going, buddy?
Hey,
fuck did I bother?
Yeah, right. I'm just going to slink back to my little corner. So I'm just here to annoy and wag the tail and just stir things up around here. So I'll just sit back here and just come out and be a jerk when I need to be. Sorry, Jana.
Excellent.
And at least Dick can hear you this time.
At least he can hear me. So shut up, Dick. Get on
I'm
with
not
it.
sure that's a blessing, but yeah. So let's see. First off, we got a little thing. Greg Terry would be here because he is like a permanent fixture on the show now, right? But he's on mission, to the point where I can't even tell you where he is. But I do have an update for you quickly. Greg Terry's fundraiser to get the Medivac trucks, I believe I just said that correctly, is at, where's the damn document? He hit $203,000.
Wow.
Only 57 more to go. Nice, guys.
Yeah.
That's
Right?
insane.
So just,
He's
heaven shines down on Greg Terry.
Wow.
And that's one more medevac. They planned to raise for 3.
Yeah, they've
then,
now gone for,
Yeah, it was 200 before. And
Yeah.
now it's 260. So it's plus 1 medevac, guys.
That's right.
Good job. And I am sure that by the end of the April, this one is going to be close. Maybe even in 2 weeks, considering how fast it is moving.
Yeah.
in 2
Maybe
weeks.
somebody should explain exactly what these medevacs are. What is a medevac?
Oh, yeah. So it's in this case, it's armored vehicle. It's not just going to be a pickup truck or a minibus or a van. This is going to be an armored vehicle that's going to be transporting. I think it has sleds inside also and all the needed stuff for medics. They call it Snatch. It's a code name for that thing.
Stop
Yeah,
it.
pretty-
I'm such a child. I'm sorry.
Can I
Whatever
tell
you're
you? Can I tell you what I told my boyfriend about it? He's like, "What kind of name is that? What's the slogan for it? Can only be driven by pussies." And I was like, "Okay,
Well, to Ukrainian, in this case, it doesn't mean anything. So Snatch is the movie of Guy Ritchie. I think that's the only thing I remember.
Well,
Snatch in Canadian rock and roll slang is like Lady Garden.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I've just noticed. I've just noticed since Jana has announced that she's got a boyfriend, we just lost 50 subscribers.
Oh, that's funny. So let's dig in a little bit here. I know we can get right to some Rick the Ukrainian announcements, and that will let Secular Sakai get some news ready to buzz the brains of James and Commander McMillan here as we go. So let's do that.
First, me and Lila Trohimet, you guys, most of you know her. She's a sister of Roman Trohimet, and she's doing working on her amazing project for a year now, Visiting the Wounded, it is called. She, with her friends, mostly girls, they are visiting the wounded soldiers in Ukrainian hospitals, now all over Ukraine, actually, because they've found some girls in different towns and cities in Ukraine who are doing the same, and she's just coordinating all of this. And after this campaign, they're gonna have their own patch. This is actually the patch that you can get for donating 100 and more euros. Go there. Link is in the description, probably, of the stream. If I haven't sent it too late, but definitely in the chat. Definitely CF Beauty will be sending it to the chat. Thank you for amazing moderators of the Shills. You guys are amazing. Thank you for your work, hard work. So that campaign it just started about 3 days ago. We already have 1,800. So Dick is messaging me.
Yeah,
there and
sorry, but
distracting me,
your
Dick. Why?
your mic's got a little pop and crackle in it, and it's the NVIDIA noise cancel screwing up. If I was you, I would just bypass it and go direct from M game out in. Yeah.
Okay, let's try. Let me do it right now. I can actually change it during the stream, right?
Yeah.
So not even gonna be passing the mic to anyone else.
How did it just? It's not doing it now. I swear to God, it's like
Oh,
having
no?
a car and
I
you take
turned
it
it
to the
off.
mechanic. Okay, yeah.
Dick,
Turn it off.
you know,
Should be better now.
it's because we're all using Endgame with Windows.
Yeah.
And I swear, this is just the biggest advertisement for why you should always have both.
So it should
a
be
PC
used
and a
ideally
Mac.
with Mac.
Yeah, well, on my Mac, noise cancellation is just built into the operating system. I can literally just turn it on for whatever damn microphone I'm using, right?
Hey, but don't bet on it. Don't bet on it. We still have issues with Macs too, though.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Wait, that reminds me also. Oh, no.
And
Like-
I didn't finish.
Oh, go
welcome
ahead,
to
sorry.
tech support with the Shills."
Sorry, guys. but I need to finish. So Lila is really excited about this campaign, and me too. We're helping the 3rd Assault Brigade. In this case, it's Lumineer Group. They are FPV pilots, and yeah, that means a lot more dead occupiers, killed occupiers. Killed? Eliminated. Yes, we're not, our soldiers are not killing them, they're eliminating them. Dick, is it better now without NVIDIA?
You're perfect, dude. Slick as hell.
Clicks. Awesome, thank you. So, this was the first thing. You can go and donate in the description. You know how NAFO truck campaigns work. I know that fellow babies know how that works. And the Shills too. So, next thing is auctions. Leathercat, our amazing roller, is painting those paintings. Paintings, okay. In Ukrainian, we call it tautology. Tautologia. Yeah, maybe you use the same word.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do have
Tautology.
Tautology, yeah. Awesome. So, then you can go there, and there are 3 new paintings. I finally did it yesterday, and I added an extra week to auction it. So, guys, go do some bids. Go place some bids because it is needed to be pushed up.
Oh.
So starting price for each painting is $50. Though I know Leathercat set a lower price, but I decided to make it a 50. So
Cool.
at least 50. Last guys, I actually need to tell you how much last 2 paintings of Leathercat went for. Blood type Azov went for 220. Last bid was by NCC, but NCC didn't come back to us, didn't send a donation. Maybe NCC just missed it. Maybe NCC, if I'm not mistaken, it was on your stream when NCC placed this one. So maybe they are listening to us right now. NCC, contact me to get the painting.
Oh, we just lost your audio there, Rick.
up your audio cut out, man.
Oh, God, please tell me it's not some bullshit with the app. Seriously? Here, hold on a second.
Classic.
Yeah. Hold on. I just refreshed his audio connection. See if it works. Rick, refresh and rejoin the video thing. It just literally glitched out on you. Dear God.
I understood.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well,
we're waiting.
I heard him say piz diets, so.
It looks like we have to find it and use a different service, Dunk. This is driving me crazy, dude.
Can you still hear me?
Yeah, unfortunately, but yeah.
Oh, that's all right. That's me.
Oh, yeah, you sound perfect now.
Yeah.
Try doing some glitch speak because we can understand you still.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to be trying out. I'm just going to bite the bullet and pay for the paid version of Restream. So if it works out well for me, I'll let you know, Dick.
Yeah, but I only want the meeting part, and Restream can't give me the injection of the hexagons and the big video at the same time. There's no way I could use it.
I hear you.
Are you back in, Rick?
I can't hear you now.
Did something get unplugged or pause something maybe?
No, please no.
Yeah, what the hell? Are you sure it's not on your side, Rick?
It's got to be on your side, man. Maybe you bumped your mic. That's what I usually do. I bump my mic and it gets disconnected, and then
Try, Rick, if you can hear me.
You're right.
Go to your, if you're on Windows, open up your sound settings, make sure you've got everything, input on stream, output on system.
He uses chat, though. It's not, everybody uses these things in their own way. That's, Yeah, what I would say, Rick, is just reload your routing page settings.
Yeah, no, I mean, even right before we started this stream, I had the same issue with that weird feedback thing. And I swear, my settings are always like that. I don't know why it was happening, but I had to turn all of that stuff off in the MK map.
usually turning it off and turning it back
Maybe
on.
you can hear me now.
Yeah.
Yes,
There we
we
go.
can hear you.
There we go.
So I
right.
restarted the console manually, like the button behind.
Okay.
At the back. So man, this was on my side, I think.
Yeah.
The whole time there on Frankencon's stream, it was on my side, and M game needs to be restarted constantly during the stream. What the hell? And
That's
it didn't
weird.
happen. It didn't happen on my stream.
That's
For
odd.
9 hours, I was streaming. But when I'm a guest at someone's show, it just stops working, and I need to restart it manually.
Wow.
Oh, wait. Hold on.
Okay.
Maybe it's the same
But-
issue.
Let's hold on. Let's not get lost in this right now.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
not
yeah.
what
Yeah.
the
Well,
show
we'll be
is.
bored.
We'll figure it out
We'll
later.
make a note for after
Yeah.
the show,
Okay,
then
but-
we can talk about
when
it.
you
You
lose
should have
me,
a show. Have you thought about just having a show where all we do is talk about audio issues?
We've had shows like
in
that.
my nightmares. Yeah.
Yeah. The sonic shills.
Yeah.
well,
No.
okay,
So,
guys.
so
just
Rick,
to finish-
you've got to finish
Yeah.
up. Yeah.
Yeah. NCC, please contact me if you can hear me and tell me if you want the painting or not, because we're waiting for 2 weeks. There's a rule there with auctions. We're waiting for 2 weeks. If the winner is not getting back to us, we're giving the painting to the previous bidder. I think it's pretty fair, right? So in this case, okay, waiting for the feedback, guys. You go place the bids. Let me check. Maybe someone already placed some bid.
I'm
Nope,
about to place a bid right now because
Sakai.
I'm telling you that Wounded Warriors one. That's mine.
Oh yeah, the
I'm gonna
one we're not made of stone, right?
Yeah.
That one is powerful. Yeah, I really like it. So, guys, that painting "We're Not Made of Stone" is gonna be. There's gonna be a big competition about that one. Karen has placed $50 bid before Sakai. Now we're gonna see what Sakai is placing there, but not yet. Okay. There are
but
two more paintings there.
Sakai's getting inside information on the bids now, though, so he knows what to bid, right? So shouldn't he has to pay a 5% penalty for inside information and overpay even
We
more?
can all see the bids.
No,
Everyone
everyone
can
can
see the bids.
see
It's
it.
live.
Yeah.
Dick.
And-
I mean,
Nice try, though.
Canada and America, man. What are you talking about? Regulations, financial fairness.
Well, tell Google to stop taxing me on the payouts then.
Guys, last thing to mention is El Greco, my friend who serves in the border guard, Steel Border Brigade. He lost his car that we were helping him with a few months ago. Russians destroyed it, unfortunately. They dropped something from their version of Baba Yaga, just a night vision dropper. During the night, they destroyed his truck. So tomorrow we're going to be raising for his truck. Actually, I already raised for his truck. So guys, you can send donations either to me or to Dick Dawson. And most of it will go to El Greco, though we have the second fundraiser, the smaller one, for the initiation chips. In Ukrainian, it's platy initiatii, but I don't know how to translate platy into English. Just chips. Okay, let's call them that. Computer chips. Those things. So 80,000 hryvnias for those. Also, it's more than $2,000. But yet, it's for 100 of them. And that means 100 FPV drones will be working. That's good. And yes, that's it on my side. As always, I took only 10 minutes of your only.
So,
Thank you, guys.
a little bit of news here. Let's see. I'm figuring, James, you and Secular Sakai have been talking in the background a bit and stuff and whatnot. So, Sakai, where do you want to start with the news? And let's see who wants to jump in and say what for this and that and so on. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry. Before we do that, there's one other set of announcements to do. Jana wants to let everybody know of some Project Constantine. Great news. Mods, get your links ready. Here we go.
Yeah, guys. So we finally have a Discord server. So you can come pop in. You can come say hi. I do have to disappoint all of you. Pete's not gonna be super active in there or active in there at all.
Yeah.
Not
Not possible for the poor guy. He needs his time.
Yeah. But we are going to have a lot of our links are going to be in there whenever Pete's on a show, because sometimes he lets us know. He's like, hey guys, I'm going live on Greg's show. And we're like, it's 5 minutes before the show. Could you not have told us earlier? He's like,
Yeah.
I just found out, So it will be things like that. Just updates, general fun community vibes. And I mean, it's not as if you guys aren't on enough Discord servers yet. So what's one more gonna do,
That's right.
Yeah.
Suzuki, yes, Pete is okay. He was they came back from a mission today. He is just super tired, and they are without, or where they're based, there is no electricity. So they're running on a generator, and also when the power is out, cell service is cut by 50%. So just before the show started, I had because Helena drove up from Odessa to come see them. And I had a video call with the two of them, and it was just cut because we couldn't hear each other. But he's good. He is in good spirits. Yeah.
Cool.
So
cool. I spoke to Pete a couple times today as well. We've got a video of him showing his old phone, but talking on his new iPhone, thanks to the fellow babies and the rollers here watching. We supplied that phone, and we supplied the mics and everything. He's about to get the mics hooked up. Pete's idea of a high technology is a stone hammer, right? So, this isn't going fast, but we're dragging him along, kicking and screaming, and he does get it. Like, he's got a voice, so the whole mic setup is just going to be awesome for the productions and everything.
Like, you guys will see in the video, he's talking about the mic, and he's like, "Yeah, we've got these mics that we'll use for streams," and then I'm like, "And the video, so that my editing life is easier."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Hey Pete, have you used these mics in the recent videos?" "No, I haven't opened them yet."
Yeah, he was going to show me a video of opening them, and he unwrapped them, and then he showed me the thing, and he's like, "Oh, it's so complicated looking, and it's really just connect them, right?"
But now that Helena's there, she'll help him.
Yeah,
she's going there to help with a few things, is everything. Yeah.
What did he call the little puffs that go over the mics for when you're in the wind? He called them like nipple twitties or something, or what was it? Yeah.
I think here are the nipple rings hats, Sweeney hats.
Oh my word!
Guys, wanna raffle another one of those?
You know what? I'm just gonna call them microphone pasties from now on.
Yeah. I think that's nipple pasties. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so those things on mics, they're basically tribbles, guys. If we're
tribbles, yeah.
So I really like them. Though they're not multiplying like tribbles.
Yeah, well, hopefully
that's the
not.
only difference. Yeah.
We did a story the other night, Rick, on our news show, and this woman thought she found an injured hedgehog, and she took it home and tried to feed it and whatnot for the night, and it was actually just the puff from a winter hat. I
thought that's not the real story. Yeah, that's just a meme, guys.
It was funny though, Yeah.
Anyway, funny. I totally agree. Okay, I was interrupting someone. Jana, did you
I feel like we're all just interrupting each other this stream.
Yeah, that's typical the Shills way. I like it.
But you did.
Commander, you haven't been interrupting anyone yet today. Can you please begin?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Oh, okay.
You want me to interrupt somebody? Sure. Who do you want me to interrupt today?
Yeah. How about yourself? With everything going off over the few days there and stuff, Commander, electric grid and whatnot. Tactically, where do you see this going now after, right?
I think what we're seeing is, from the Russian standpoint, they're continuing that the only thing they can effectively do is bombard. So that's what they're doing, is hitting civilian infrastructure. The Ukrainians are similarly doing bombardments, but theirs are much more targeted. If you look at what they're hitting oil production infrastructure, They're hitting rail yards, that kind of stuff. So it makes a lot more sense from a operational military standpoint. To give you a historical perspective, it's like the difference when in the Battle of Britain, the Luftwaffe suddenly shifts from hitting RAF airfields to just bombing London. Bombing London really doesn't accomplish anything strategic, but it's a sign of we can't seem to accomplish anything else. We may as well just vent our frustration by bombing civilians. So I think there's that going on. The other thing that has struck me in the past week is the number of well-coordinated maritime strikes the Ukrainians have carried out. So they started out by doing that one strike where they took out the big communication center in Sevastopol. That then essentially degraded the air defense network in the area enough that they were able to conduct other strikes. They've sunk at least 2 Rapusha LSTs that I know of, and those are important because that's what they're using to bring supplies into Sevastopol, because the bridge and the rail link over Kerch is a little vulnerable, so they're bringing in the key stuff that is oversized cargo via that means. So that's an important thing. So I find it both interesting and amusing at the same time that what we're seeing is a country that effectively doesn't have much of a navy. Ukraine has somehow become the dominant naval power in the Black Sea, whereas the Russians, who have the largest navy, are effectively incapable of doing much of anything with it. So that's a big deal. On the diplomatic front, we see a lot of European nations trying to step up and fill the void left by the US's failure to get funding bills through Congress. It's going to take time for all that to come into effect, correct the shortfalls, but it is going to happen, and I think that's an important thing, that it provides that stopgap measure until the U.S. is able to finally turn the spigot back on.
May I interrupt you here and
Sure.
ask you what do you think about U.S. really, well, how do you call it? But anyway, sending some aid to Israel, 25 F-35s, and thousands of missiles and glide bombs, and you see. You didn't actually need the Congress approval for that. There are ways, and I think there are also ways to send the same to Ukraine. Well, not the same, but at least that we're being issued with. So the thing is, we Ukrainians really see it as, I mean, here what I hear among Ukrainians, what I hear among our influencers.
Oh,
Lost
shoot
sound
again.
Rick.
We lost your audio again, Rick.
Oh, for fuck's sakes.
Oh,
Why is
man.
it doing that?
I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's odd.
While he tries to fix it, let me comment on what he was talking about. So there is a fundamental difference between the U.S. helping to finance Israeli defense activities and financing Ukrainian defense activities. And that comes out of the Camp David Accords from, I'll get the year wrong, but I think it's 74, 76, something like that. Because when those accords were signed, it gave Israel a annual $1.5 billion funding stream from the U.S. So every year they get that money, and then they kind of get to decide what they go through the big shopping list from the Pentagon, say, oh, I'd like 2 of those and 3 of those and 1 of those, and put fries on it too. So that's what they're kind of doing, is using that load of cash that they get every year from the U.S. to say, we want these things because they're important for us to prosecute operations that we're conducting right now.
Okay, I'm back, right?
Yeah,
you're
you're
back.
good.
I
Yeah,
can
just
hear you. So
Yeah,
that's
just wanted
what's
to say that
Sure.
here in Ukraine, we we feel it like even a bigger betrayal. We see that
Oh,
there's
I
a
agree.
political will to support Israel, but no political will at all, even from Biden and his team, to really help us. So we right now feel totally betrayed and abandoned by the U.S.
Yep.
Not by the people of U.S. I love you guys, fellow babies, rollers, everyone who's out there helping us with these grassroots efforts. You're the best people of your country. Thank you for that. You really care about us and about democracy and freedom. But the thing is, U.S.'s government and whichever government it is, it's not interested in Ukraine's victory. Not at all. Not as. And right now we're in a pretty shitty situation. What you were saying, that Russians are bombarding us and we're bombarding them, there's a huge difference between that, because they have ballistic missiles, big ones, fast ones, and we have drones that are slow and easily intercepted. So it's not the same. And they unfortunately really crippled our energetic infrastructure in the last 3 or 4 attacks. And we have big problems. There was no such big problems in 2022 and in the beginning of 2023. We're right now standing on the edge of massive blackouts by the end of this year. And I think we can do nothing about it. F-16s are going to be here in the end of the summer or in the end of the... And in the beginning of the autumn. But the problem is,
That's
by
a
that,
ways away, though. That sucks.
even
Yeah.
when we have F-16s, we won't get rid of the ground launching platforms of ballistic missiles. That's the big problem. So I think if we won't get 5 to 6 Patriots like this, our energetic infrastructure is just doomed, and we won't ever get those, because the only spare that could be given to us are in U.S. And U.S. doesn't have any political will to give us more. U.S. didn't give us a single Patriot, by the way.
Yeah,
guys.
that sucks.
Yeah. No, and
U.S. haven't given us any of those.
And I'm
Only
sorry.
rockets for them.
And I'm
It's
sorry,
a-
but they must have a few laying around. Go ahead, Commander.
I was going to say, it's a two-edged problem with Patriot, because Ukraine needs both additional batteries to get greater area coverage, and they need resupply of missiles.
Yeah,
Because
that's also a big problem.
the missile battery itself does not have a Star Trek fabricator that just creates out of matter, suddenly poof, you've got a new missile. That's a limited supply when you get them, and you have to keep getting resupply to keep shooting. And effectively, Ukraine has burned through most of the missiles we gave them at first.
And we haven't been resupplied by half a year.
I know. Yeah.
Imagine,
James, yeah.
just imagine being one of those Patriot operators and watching a missile come through and knowing that you have to choose what cities, what places, what people you're going to defend with the very limited missiles that you have, because you can't cover it all, and so you're watching this missile go, and you know that you have to let it go.
Oh, man, I'm not sure I can reconcile being in that position.
yeah. Well, and let me also say this. There was only a little bit of coverage of this early on, but I remember maybe mid 2022 or maybe early 2023, there was some coverage of discussions of Israel providing some air defense support systems to Ukraine. And now, as Rick said, it really is. It really does seem like a betrayal. The fact that weapons, that resources are being sent to Israel with, out full congressional approval, but not to Ukraine. And in addition, from the Netanyahu government over in Israel, I don't think any of that's going to be, handed off to Ukraine. I think they're just keeping that in case something happens with Hezbollah up north. And
it's worse than that. It's because of the uncertainty of the U.S. dependability. So they may have Patriots that they could release, because Patriots really don't do anything for intercepting the small rockets and such that Hezbollah and such are firing.
Right.
So they could release them to Ukraine, but they're not going to because they're no longer confident that the U.S. will be willing to provide them replacement should they need them.
Oh,
So
yeah.
our namby-pamby, hand-wringing incrementalism here has crippled our credibility across the globe with all our allies. Who can trust us?
Yeah. No, and the worst part is there's no single group you can point your finger at in the US who's causing everything. I mean, a big part of it is, of course, the MAGA, the Trump crowd. They're just a problem in general.
Oh, yeah.
But also when it comes to Ukraine versus Israel support and, this how do I put it? Beating around the bush, walking the tripwire, having to carefully balance because you're going to piss someone off no matter what happens, no matter what you do. We see the split between American Democrat centrists and progressive faction.
Oh, yeah.
It's political dysfunction at a time of war, at a time of uncertainty all around the world that really is not good for the U.S. or its allies.
For anyone.
For anyone.
You
Right.
probably
And
cannot
I
hear
would
me
point
again,
something
right?
out.
We can hear you, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're in, buddy. Yeah.
Commander, yeah.
I'm convinced that as much as I loathe them, MAGA is not the problem. MAGA is merely a symptom.
Symptom,
The,
yeah.
the problem is the manipulation of public opinion through hostile nation disinformation operations,
Oh, yeah.
predominantly, but not exclusively, Russia. And as I've said several times on the show before, it's not just that they're trying to say, oh yeah, the right's good. They're doing the same thing on the left. All they want to do is cause discord in the country so that we cannot come to a consensus on what's the best way to act. And with that sense of confusion, nothing occurs.
Which
That's
then
the problem. Yeah.
which then damages American reputation as a superpower and reliable security
It's
partner.
a death spiral situation.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. There's also a version going around, at least here in Ukraine, that Biden doesn't want to help Ukraine because he's afraid to lose the election. Do you also have that one going around?
Fuck
there?
that. I don't buy that.
Here's my opinion. My thought is that kind of like how because we've seen, I won't say mixed messaging, but we've seen certain actions and certain statements from Biden and his administration regarding the whole Israel-Palestine thing that's kind of been, like I said, the balancing act, a little bit of support to the Israeli government, a little bit of pushback against Netanyahu and his government. When it comes to Ukraine, I think that Biden would like to release more funds because there's a recognition among his cabinet that it is important for Ukraine to hold the line and be able to defend itself. It's important for Europe. It's important for the US, of course, as well, by extension. I think that part of the fear is too large of a political movement that is seen to, I don't know, be the executive branch, taking control and saying, this is what we're doing, whether, people like it or not.
Mm-hmm.
I think that too many actions like that, whether it be on Ukraine or Israel or other domestic issues, there's a fear that could tip the scale in Trump's favor.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
My opinion is when he's afraid to do some actions without considering the public opinion, he actually comes to his defeat when he's not doing some bold action. So it's a really stupid and unproductive tactics. When he's thinking he is winning an election with that, he's actually losing it with it. So
It makes him appear to be a very weak leader because everything is indecisive. He's not doing something. Honestly, I don't think it would make much difference in terms of how it affects the election. of what he says he wants to do. But he has to come out and say, this is what I want to do, and I need Congress to make it happen. But he's not doing that. So everybody's left with this confused, muddled view of what our goals are.
Mhm.
And he's doing that because the moment you commit, you make yourself vulnerable to criticism by this, massive social media world.
It slightly
think,
becomes
you're
a
wrong.
mob, and it also becomes a bit of a mob mentality in the
Yeah.
criticism, right? It's ridiculous.
Well, especially on
I think that taking a decisive action is what people are looking for right now. Right or wrong,
Yeah.
like stepping forward, being strident, and saying, "God damn it, we're America." Taking some of that,
Absolutely.
agenda away from the Republicans would be a great thing right now. If you look at when Biden's popularity started to nosedive, it's when we left Afghanistan. That's when he went just totally nosedive. This would be an opportunity for him to recover that. People would be like, "Yeah, America's coming back. America, fuck."
Mhm.
I mean, let's do that. Why? But I just
The,
think
the,
I think
the
that,
terrible
with
truth
the-
is jingoism sells.
Yeah.
uh,
yeah.
You're not wrong
Yeah.
there. Let me
but-
let me jump in here,
Oh,
everybody.
I
I'm gonna-
agree with you, James. I agree with you.
I'm gonna jump in and do a couple of super chat shout outs, and then I want to hear from James on his last interview there with the volunteer. Give a little rundown, what's going on there and stuff. How cute
right.
is and everything, right?
Okay. I'll shake a pickle and I'll come back for that. Give me a sec.
Perfect. Awesome. So here, I love that phrase. I've got to start using that. Let's get a few shout outs in here. So first of all, Lynn's definition there threw in a $40 donation for the trucks. So yeah, that goes right over to Greg Terry's fund there. What we're doing is, if you do hashtag Medivac or for the trucks or whatever, we'll send it over to Greg Terry. And if you don't, all other donations that come in go to Pete and Jana at Project Constantine. So that's what we're doing today here. And let's see if we can't flex our muscles a little bit here, fellow babies. So we've got a $10 direct tip in from UTV. Yeah, new member here, new one of the fellow babies and watcher, and an definite active person. Loving it, UTV. Thank you very much. We've also got the Loch Ness Monster in with Boom Boom Slava Ukraine. And that was a direct tip as well. Then we got a super chat in. I think it was a super chat. Yeah, from Jenny, £5 towards the Medivacs, and that's where it goes. And then we've got Adam Rounds in on a super chat as well here for a couple of bucks. Commander, what do you think the U.S. did? What do you think the U.S. did Maidan?
Is that Maidan or Maidan?
Okay, yeah,
Maidan.
it probably is. Yeah, I'm reading it like Iron Maiden metalhead guy. So yeah.
No, I think what he means to say is, what do you think the U.S. did Maidan?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's-
if the CIA was behind it or that kind of thing.
Personal opinion, no. I think the Maidan was one of those rare occasions when you get a spontaneous uprising from the masses who are just fed up with the crap that the government's doing. Those are very rare. People don't understand that. Typically, those kind of things do not come from the bottom up. They come from top down. So you get one oligarch or another who's decided, oh, yeah, I can do a better job and I can make more money, so I'm going to take over. This was all welling from the bottom up of Ukrainian people just so fed up at the crap that was going on at the time. I suspect that CIA may have been involved after the fact in terms of advising and finding ways to prop up the emerging democratic government. But I don't think they were behind instigating it at the start. That's my
Agreed.
opinion.
Agreed. Also, though, I will throw in, and I won't pretend to be a PhD level expert on this topic, because there's a lot that goes into what started the Orange Revolution and the Maidan Revolution of Dignity. But I do think that a lot of intelligence and counterintelligence work from both the Russian and Ukrainian sides were heavily involved in that, which makes perfect sense. But when I say Ukrainian side, I mean different factions of Ukrainian society, because that was a big part of it, going against the current administration, the current government, and loyal forces there. You know, I think it was something where the people were spurred and where they, you know, they did spontaneously come together to stand against corruption and issues with the government. But I do believe that there were some major intelligence operations on the ground from Ukrainian groups.
Unfortunately, it's my understanding that the major intelligence operations during Maidan on the Ukrainian side were, in fact, against
Yes.
Maidan in many respects. So the
There's
SBU,
lots
I mean, the
of
SBU
evidence.
Well, also
the
when I
SBU had to be completely
and that's why
rebuilt after.
and that's why I say different factions, because whether you're formally with an intelligence agency of a government or you're with an organization that is a non-governmental entity that's still nonetheless involved in similar work, there's still rivalry there, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Guys,
The only thing
I'd
Victoria,
like to hear.
Can we maybe ask the Ukrainian?
Yeah,
about-
that's what I wanted to hear.
Look, there's a Ukrainian here.
There's
No,
actually
no,
a
don't
Ukrainian
talk
who can
about
ask
some
about it.
countries.
Ukrainian. I'm actual Ukrainian who's not pretending to be one.
He's like
Oh,
patiently
dang,
waiting.
Okay,
man.
guys. So
Call us
the thing
out.
is, SBU still has Russian agents in it. Now, it has been reformed only in late 2022 and in 2023. And the thing is, it's like maybe Vasil Maluk and probably his deputies are very, very good, okay, at what they do. But there's still a lot of departments in SBU who are still very corrupt, who are pro-Russian, who are agents of Russia. Guys, that place is a very, like, it's a spider net there. It's just still filled with a lot of traders. You cannot imagine how many traders are still in all of our government branches, in all of the governmental structures we have. There's still a lot of fight will be going. And why do you think, as Zelensky said himself, Russia got the plans of the counteroffensive of 2023 on the table before it began? It's everywhere. Russians know our every move. That's because their networks are really, really well financed and very big and very efficient.
And they know the infrastructure. They know exactly what was already in place. So when you have that kind of inside knowledge, wouldn't it make it even easier to make sure that you can observe and watch and stuff, right?
Yeah, just to quickly mention while I have the mic, we still don't have more donations on our fifth campaign, NAFO truck campaign with Lila Trohemets. Go there, guys, and
here, let's do it. Let's
buy
do it.
yourself some patches.
Yeah, donations in hashtags Rick's Trucks. It goes right over, and he'll sort out, highest and patches and stuff. I just send it to him.
Thank you. And we have a few bids for the paintings. The one from Sekai for We're Not Made of Stone, $60. Where's My Friend, $60 bid by Silver Earth. Great job, guys.
Cool.
Let's keep the competition. For those who just came to the stream, in the description there's an auction page there. What do you have to do? You don't have to connect any payment system there. Just put your email and name there, and we're gonna have a bid from you.
Grab the
Go
link
there.
right now live from the live chat. The extra links haven't been added to the description yet because
Sorry.
I'm stupid.
No, because I was too late, man. Sorry. I
it's okay.
sent them to CF Beauty only at 10 p.m. Ukrainian time when we should have started the stream.
Yeah.
Also, guys, if you just open up Google and look up My Mini Auction, Rick the Ukrainian, it should pop up at the top
Oh, it
of the
should pop
page.
up?
Yeah,
Nice.
I look up My Mini Auction, Rick the Ukrainian, and it pops up immediately.
Cool.
Nice. You don't even need a link. Awesome. Guys, I'm going to be leaving you in 23 minutes.
Before you leave, I quickly want to say something.
Yeah.
Okay. Those of you guys who watched Rick's stream on Sunday, okay, we had Dr. Sergey on there from Bodro Clinic. Yesterday, I spoke to Vera and other Sergey from the Ukrainian embassy, who are friends with Dr. Sergey. There are a lot of Ukrainians named Sergey.
Oh,
okay?
yeah. Just as Andris.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
And Dima. Like, those are the three names. Like, honestly,
Oh, Sasha.
And
Alexander.
Sasha. Yes.
yeah.
4 names. Like,
4.
if you need to pick a name, like, which one of the 4 are you? But anyway, Dr. Sergey told them, and he'll get a full report. We'll get a full report from him and everything. But enough money was fundraised for the full recovery, to pay for the full recovery, full rehabilitation of a soldier,
Nice.
and that's
Awesome.
$1,000.
Yeah, and that's around $1,000. Great
Yeah.
job, rollers.
So
Fucking awesome.
it's enough for one soldier's full rehabilitation, which is
Awesome.
I
That's
think when
rocking.
this war is over in Ukraine, I think there's going to be quite a few new children being christened Dick.
Yeah.
Go with Richard. Just
Hopefully in a favorable light as opposed to the other way Dick tends to get used.
yeah. So
Guys, I have exciting news from today. I am a full-time roller. Well,
Congratulations.
yesterday was my last day at work. It was a bit sad also. I did a stream at work. You won't believe it. But I did something. Yeah, I told Dick how it was. I won't tell you the details.
But it's super cool, and you wish you was me because I know.
Yeah. I just don't want to talk to like many people about what happened there because it might be disrespectful to my colleagues, right?
Yeah.
But it was pretty awesome, and I felt like, wow, I'm streamer everywhere. That's crazy. Maybe not in a good way, it's crazy, but maybe also in a good one because I try to get the best of it. Anyway, guys, I'm doing more streams than my Sunday streams now. I have a regular stream on Sunday also, midday Ukrainian time, Free Azov rally. I go to it every week for the last month already. Proud of it. Gonna be there tomorrow. After that, I'm gonna go to Lila, but we're not gonna be doing the stream. She's not to Lila, but to the hospital, to the wounded soldiers. And Lila and her girls are gonna be there. I'm gonna be filming something with them there and posting it later. But anyway, and the stream gonna be in the evening. Also, as always, guys, I hope not 9 hours this time. Let's hope for 7. It's really hard to do less than 7 now, considering the amount of auctions.
No, Rick,
and
the actual
raffles
truth
we
is
have
it's
to-
just hard to shut you up. No, I'm just kidding. Just
You're
kidding.
right, man. But you're right. You're right. It's really hard to shut me up. But
This is why I don't.
Which is
I don't
why
do
you're
the,
a good roller.
oh, yeah. Thank you.
that's why I don't do the news anymore when you're filling out the page and everything because we'll start talking. And then
Yeah,
we'll
also
forget.
I mean, I wouldn't.
Yeah, but I mean,
blame
literally,
you.
like last weekend, we're going through the news, and sick guy is like, Rick, what do you think about this? And I'm like, he's doing accounting. Leave the man alone.
Yeah, I know. I
Oh,
do that
guys,
too.
doing accounting is becoming harder too. The amount of support grows, and you see that I'm spending like more than an hour on a spreadsheet now. And you keep donating. Meanwhile, that's crazy. Thank you so much for that huge support, and I'm sure that just in a few weeks we're gonna close the fundraiser, which started only tomorrow, or technically it will start. Yeah, started
Yeah.
tomorrow. Started
Yeah.
yesterday, but it will start tomorrow. But for El Greco for his car. I just wanted also to mention that today I suddenly went to. I mean, I did a sudden stream. I went to the Toloka. There's a Ukrainian word for people gathering around and voluntarily cleaning up the place. We have this word. So People were gathering together with Dobrobat. There's a Ukrainian voluntary organization to rebuild Ukrainian homes and other buildings that were damaged and destroyed by Russian missile attacks and shelling also. So we went there, and there were around 200 or maybe even 300 people there clearing the rubble, and I did the stream from that place. So that kind of content you can also see on my channel now. Really like to explore something new, to go to some new kind of events, and to as Fed Up told me today, inhaling the asbestos asbestos dust from bricks, which might be killing your lungs. So yeah, just so tasty it was.
Yeah, never mind this vapey thing, man.
Yeah, when I said, oh, it's just a brick dust, he was then emailing me, dude, it's not just a brick dust. People are really dying from that. So that was crazy. But yeah, you can see the destruction, and it's really hard to see it from the camera in the recording, how big, how massive it is. But when you're there, so as Canty Ludden says, come here to Ukraine. If he could do it, you can definitely do it.
Yeah.
Come to Ukraine, everyone. Don't wait.
Oh, for fuck's sakes, Rick, we just lost your goddamn audio.
No.
Okay.
Well,
But I had just
before Rick leaves, I want to show him that. I want you to show him that video I sent you.
I am back.
The artist.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before he leaves, yeah.
I also want to say something before Rick leaves later.
Yeah. Okay. So go ahead and finish there, dude.
Just wanted to say, come here to Ukraine, because this war might not end in 10 years, so maybe even never, or maybe we will lose this war, because right now Russians are winning this war. That's the fact.
That's an honest fact, and it's a shitty fact.
That's a fact. And imagine we would talking about this in the end of 2022. No one would believe it.
Yeah.
Support was strong from all the angles. We had
even the political support, right?
Yeah. And we were deoccupying our territories, and now Russia has the upper hand and really has the initiative and really occupying more and more of our territories, destroying our energetic infrastructure there. They learn, guys. They learn and adapt so fucking good.
And like we've said a few times, if you guys don't have enough shit to throw at them, it ain't going to work.
I mean, they are still orcs, but they're not those stupid orcs anymore. They're very clever orcs. They are just there's no point, like no reason to laugh at them. Like they are now pushing hard and adapting and learning something new. And you see this tactics with the guided aviation bombs. It works perfectly. They're just destroying the positions of our military, and then they are throwing more FPV drones there to kill those guys who remained, and they are just then occupying those positions, taking them, and after that they are they proceed to the next one. They dig and make good fortifications, and this war has changed significantly by the last year, and we need to unite even more. We need to figure out something new and better. I mean, Ukrainians are MacGyvers, as you told me, guys. Yes, we will figure out how to bypass anything, but unfortunately, we're fighting against a force that has so much weapons, so much ammunition.
Well, that's a big part of it. Also, is and I've heard a little bit about this, reading a few articles. If it really isn't going to be until November or after November that major U.S. military support can be delivered, I mean, Ukraine needs to find a way needs to get enough from Europe, somehow from the US, from somebody, in order to hold the line. Because if anyone thinks that the Russians aren't going to try another offensive in the summer, then I don't know what to tell you, because they are massing their forces.
Guys, that offensive never stopped. They are occupying territories every day. Go to the deep state map.
Yeah.
100 by 500 meters, but every day. And that's enough for them. They don't care about how many
They don't give
people,
a shit about their own losses, right, Rick?
Yes,
They don't give
exactly.
They don't
That's
give
what I'm
a
talking
flying
about.
fuck.
So even if it will take them 10 years to occupy the whole Ukraine, it means nothing to them. It's not a problem for them. Also, what I noticed, there's a huge cope in Ukrainian society. I'm not one of those people, but I noticed it speaking to people in Ukraine. They are all really okay, I forgot the word about that, but not about that word, how to translate it, but they are comforting themselves with that Russian economy is just on the edge. It just left a few years left for them to die. Guys, come on, fucking on. They will.
Well,
Yeah.
Rick, one thing is all the Western countries have to get far better with enforcing the sanctions, because sure, you enable them, but it's all slipping through, right?
I don't believe in sanctions anymore, because for that you need a huge political will, which is
It's not there. They're all just doing it so they can look good on camera.
If you want my opinion, sanctions can work on a country like, say, Cuba, which is an island, which can be surrounded.
North Korea.
Yeah, or North Korea, a place that can be surrounded, that is small, that is vulnerable to sanctions and actual force being used to enforce them. Russia is fucking huge, and there's always going to be someone, regardless of what war crimes they commit, some country around the world willing to buy their shit.
Yeah.
The problem is this: it needs to be a military victory. Sanctions are important strategically in certain ways, but they are one small part of the equation. There needs to be less of a hyper focus on that and more on how the fuck do we get Ukraine what it needs to fight these bastards.
Yeah. Now, I wanted to turn over to James here. James did a really great interview just recently with somebody volunteering.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're on the scene. You're in Ukraine as well. So give us a little hint about that. How did the chat go? What was and the mods will be dropping your link at the same time.
Rockin'. Well, before I talk about that, I know because Rick has to go. Rick,
in 10 minutes. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Your Toloka that you were talking about. If you could, if you have a link or something, or maybe get in touch with me, because I've got a donor coming out middle of April who wants to come out and do some volunteering work, and that would be a perfect opportunity to do some of that.
Awesome.
Yeah. So however we can get that info. So I try to interview. My goal is to interview Ukrainians as much as possible, soldiers, particularly members of the International Legion, and foreign volunteers, particularly from America here. And I don't know how I came across him, but he's like a friend of a friend on Facebook, and I started talking with Matt, and he was a volunteer with Rubicon. And spent 2 years doing pretty much what Greg Terry has been doing, delivering stuff. And
Excellent.
But he I guess he was in training. He wanted to start fighting, because he does have, I guess, some military experience. He's a Muay Thai champion, all this other stuff. But yeah, he ended up getting flagged and taken around to the head in training, from like the guy behind him in the trench. Barely survived. Had a bullet rumbling around in his brain. And and here in Ukraine, of course, and had to go through surgery and months of rehab, and now he's back in the States, and he's he's dealing with a lot of TBI issues and everything else you can imagine, PTSD and stuff. But he's still looking for ways to help Ukraine. And so we just talked. My goal last stream was my second stream with him, and my goal was to kind of make an informational video for people, particularly people who are coming here to volunteer or to join the International Legion, talking about like, what are the realities of coming here? What do you need to be prepared for? What are the things you may not be thinking of? And I'm actually I just hired a video editor, and she just sent me the rough draft so I took that stream and now I put it into like a video, and it's like, I don't know, like 40 minutes long or something. I don't remember. So I'm going to put that up on my stream, and then I'm publishing that. There's a lot of Facebook groups where there's guys going, hey, I want to join the Legion, blah, blah, blah. 90% of them are freaking total bullshitters. But there's 1% of 1% that are serious, but then they get here, and I was in the Legion. I know they get here and they're totally unprepared. They have no fucking clue.
Right.
And so anything that can be done to help those guys out, I'm trying to do. So it's informational. I'm going to publish that to all those Facebook groups, and you put it on. Yeah. So that's my thing. And I think I'm going to invite him. Well, it's a standing agreement, and he's going to be there tomorrow. And then I also have another volunteer who helped us. He comes. He's not in any group or anything. He just comes to Ukraine and does stuff. He's from New Mexico, so
cool.
He actually, because I'm from Albuquerque by way of California, or vice versa.
Albuquerque. Did you ever see Bugs Bunny take the wrong left turn?
I did exactly that, and never do that. Never do that. It's
right after Wile E. Coyote and that freaking Roadrunner.
Yeah, and then you know what's past that wall that Wile E. Coyote always runs into? You go through that wall and it's directly into the Breaking Bad set.
That's what I wanted to suggest also. He probably end up at Tuco. Remember that?
yeah, Tuco, yeah, no.
Out of his grandpa's range.
Guys, I know that sorry to interrupt you, James.
Sure.
Just wanted to show you this, guys. We're raffling the flag tomorrow on the stream. I mean, we're already, you can already buy tickets.
Dude, that's rocking.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
That is awesome. Oh,
dude, I want that.
Easy. You can buy a ticket, $20 only. Send the money to my PayPal or to buy me a coffee also. Nice. And you can participate in the raffle, guys. Yeah, everyone. So this flag was signed by Victor. His call sign is Guitarist, the guitar player. It is translated like this. Dick, I see. I need to still hold it, right? Because you put me on the big screen. And
yeah. Show it up for all, buddy.
Dude, that's rad as hell.
Nice.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, that is awesome.
14 separate mechanized brigade. Raffle will end somewhere around midnight tomorrow on the stream.
Very good.
Don't miss the chance to get it. $20. You can buy as many tickets as you want. So it was signed. There's a video how it was signed. Actually, it was on the NAFO event, a NAFO handover event. That Friday. Yeah, and
I saw that.
Pretty awesome moment. An honor for me also because an honor for my parents because Victor also signed, and his friend, his brother in arms, not just friend, Yannick also signed that one. And the one for my parents. Thank you, parents, for all that you have done for me.
By the way, that reminds me, Rick. I got a lot of stuff from Ukraine this last week or so. I finally got the package you sent me that had the flag that you and Yulia and
Helena.
And Helena. Yeah, all three of you.
Me and Helena.
Yeah, that all of you signed. And also tomorrow I'm going to pick up from a friend who's coming over to where I'm at, Ukrainian friend who's bringing me a flag that is signed by the soldiers of the 110th Mechanized Brigade. So,
that's cool.
Nice.
That's cool. Let me get in with
Gotta
a couple
run.
of. Let me
Just
get in.
gonna
Okay.
say,
Yeah.
say, live long, prosper, and donate, guys. Love you all.
Hey, Rick.
Take care, buddy,
До
Rick.
побачення.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, до побачення і на добраніч. Guys, see you tomorrow on 2 streams. You have a great day, night. We will win. It will be fucking hard, but we will break that Goliath that is called Russia. I have no doubt in it.
Oh, and
Slava
and guys, Heroyam Slava. And guys, one of the fundraisers that Rick mentioned earlier for the 3rd Separate Assault Brigade, please definitely help with that, because the 3rd Separate Assault Brigade, they were instrumental in helping evacuate other soldiers, including soldiers
from 110th Brigade.
From 110th Brigade. So the soldiers that he's fundraising for helped save a lot of the soldiers that we're fundraising for on Tridents Against Tyrants.
And
So
will help to save more.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's a BFD.
Okay, guys. Thank you very much.
Good night,
It was
brother
a great
Rick.
show as always. Love to be here. Everyone.
Take care,
Okay,
my
guys.
friend.
Have a good one.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you.
Awesome. I'm gonna put. I'm gonna do a little switcheroo here and go like that, and boom. All right. Now we're good. So let's see. I had a couple of shout outs quick to do. WL gifted out 5 Shills memberships. So thank you very much for that. Awesome. Loving it. And Andrew Green threw a super chat in. Did Russia ever take back its dead troops? Well, not without cubing them first, from what I've heard. But
Wow, really taking that meat grinder analogy all the way.
No, wait, you haven't seen the cube? Haven't you seen the cube?
that was
guy?
revolting.
Oh, was that a meme? I haven't seen.
Oh,
I
you
mean,
haven't seen the meat? Oh, you haven't seen the Vatnik cube?
No, wait. So are they cubed or diced or both?
Oh, it's a cube.
I don't know.
It's a wrap cube.
Check your spam folder. That's all I'm saying.
So Jana wanted to and yes, Jana is how you pronounce it, and I don't care how you phonetically try to type it in the chat, I'm not listening. So we've got a video queued up that she wanted to share with us. So why don't you educate the fellow babies on what we're gonna watch?
Which one is it? The one with Pete or the other one?
Oh no, we're gonna do Pete after. First, we're gonna do the art one. Yeah.
Cool. So this video is done by a Ukrainian artist. His name is Serhiy Petlyuk. I met him yesterday at an event with the Ukrainian embassy. He was here along with another Ukrainian, with a Ukrainian musician. And they were collaborating with South African artists, trying to, basically using art to bridge the gap between different cultures and everything.
Great way to do it.
Right? And he showed us some of his work, and this is one of them. It's titled "And Who," like and who, like the person who. And
Do we?
when you guys?
Do we want to play audio with this or just the visuals?
No, it's just the visuals.
Okay. So here, I'll play it and you can let us know.
Okay, awesome. And it basically says, so the writing says, "And who allowed you to live beautifully?"
Oh, wow.
And then the caption the further explanation says, Ukrainians heard this phrase in different variations from Russian soldiers who raided their homes. As a result, it became the winged expression in Ukraine, describing the barbaric seizure of territory, the marauding and destruction of other people's property. In this expression, envy is intertwined with hatred and anger. With this phrase, which has also a strong colonial connotation, Russia and its citizens are bombing peaceful cities, killing innocent people, destroying infrastructure, and looting everything that can be robbed. So that's what's going on in this installation. It's basically made to look like missiles coming in, and then each of them just says, and who allowed you to live beautifully. Each one just says that, and that's what it plays.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool. So yeah.
Yeah, I like that very much. When I first saw the initial thumbnail of the video, I wasn't expecting what I thought were like hockey sticks sticking through the floor to start being animated. I thought that was really
right?
cool, you know? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I see in the chat people are asking where is that. His artwork is the way that like his stuff can be moved wherever. So he can move his exhibition to wherever. I'm gonna I'll post his link to his website.
I just sent it over to CF, so the mods are on it. You'll have it in the live chat in like 5 seconds,
Super.
fellow babies, because they do things
Awesome.
faster than I can talk, right?
Yeah. And then I've also got he's also on Instagram. I'll quickly send that through because I forgot to send that.
Cool.
So I'll send that to CF as well. So he's on Instagram with that. And then at the same event, we also had the Ukrainian musician. You guys can look her up. She's on Instagram as Bandura Girl. Like, do you know her?
Yeah. I've seen a couple of posts from her, and I was quite impressed, to say the least.
Yeah,
And
so she was in SA. Well, she's here in SA, and I met her yesterday and everything. And she did this performance in the Ukrainian embassy's garden. It was just really fun, informal kind of thing, and I recorded the whole thing. And
cool.
We're going to put it up on the Ukrainian Association's social media after
Cool.
I've gotten my friends to translate the lyrics so that we have some nice, got everything captured in it and everything.
Awesome.
So she's really awesome. So yeah, that was really awesome getting two of them. And she's actually working on a project because and she was explaining how the bandura works and everything. And it's a massive instrument. It's huge.
Dude, it is.
And they actually, when they transport it, they book it in the cabin of a plane. They don't put it in the cargo area. And she said it's gotten to a point where they're now making smaller versions for kids to play. And she's working on this project, fundraising for it.
Cool.
And she reminded me of Rick with like, we're gonna have an auction now, okay?
Yeah.
And she has this little tris up there that a friend of hers made, and she starts auctioning this. And the ambassador's kids are there, okay? Like these two little boys are there, and everyone's bidding their money, and these kids are like, they've already got the winning bid, okay? These two boys. And she's like counting, and the next moment the kid is like, he's outbidding himself. He doesn't know how an auction works. And the ambassador is like, what's going on? And he's like, I'm going to use my money for this. But you can see he's like 10 years, he's like not even 10, okay? It's like, I'm going to use my money for this. And everyone's like, cool, no, we're not going to outbid this kid. End of the auction. He just tells the ambassador, it's like, cool, I don't actually have any money.
Oh.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't have any money. I'll get you her real name now because I see someone in chat asked for it. Let me quickly get it here.
Oh, that's funny.
It was hilarious.
I
Her
just
real
want
name-
to
Yeah?
say quick, all the fellow babies watching here, you remember we did a little fundraiser to get Jana here her cool new microphone. Holy shit, wasn't that worth it, fellow babies?
Oh yeah. Oh, and after Jana's done, hold on. Did James?
done.
Did you?
Oh, wait, I've got one more thing.
Okay.
Go for it.
Sally Luz has been trolling Vatnik trolls in our Project Constantine comments, and I just want to say I love it on Twitter.
That's
Thank
hilarious.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Oh,
It is
also,
awesome.
I've got a little bee in the background giving me information, and it turns out that your Discord kind of exploded with a few members there, didn't it?
Yeah. Well, at the beginning of the stream, I was noticing quite a few people talking on there.
Yeah. So get over to Project Constantine's new Discord. We got the links being dropped in the chat as probably as soon as I said it. And yeah.
Dick, please don't use the word explosion in reference like that, because people will get the wrong impression.
So here, let me I think we had a shout out I had to do, but it could have just been me whistling in the wind here. Hold on a second here. Yeah. Ronnie Vankin sent in a direct donation, $15 as well. Let's let orcs go back fucking home. Yeah. Thank you, Ronnie. So let's see. A commander seems to be taking us for a walk.
I was
tour of the house.
I was going to ask him a question, but I think I'll just let him do the tour of the house first.
Commander, don't go to the bathroom, dude. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Nice kitchen though. It's very functional.
What I was going to
like
ask,
the layout.
what I was going to ask before is, did you get to do that announcement that Dick mentioned earlier, James? Or he said that there was something he wanted to turn over to you?
Did
We were talking about this interview there.
That's right. The interview.
Yeah, we did. We did a little bit.
Yeah, we do have now 2 other videos that were sent over from Pete and Jana, her cohort there in Project Constantine. But yeah, I've got to go see a man about a horse first. So I was thinking we could finally get Duncan on the show to ask a few questions of people while I vacate to vacate.
Nice.
This is why we all come here, Dick.
All right. Well, I got.
We're here for the dad jokes, man. We're here for the dad jokes.
The bad dad jokes.
Okay, so I got a question for Commander. Regarding some of these, the rather depressing sort of thoughts that are coming from Rick that Russia may actually win this campaign. What do you think would be next if they did?
Well, first you have to define what win the campaign means.
Precisely.
Well, I would say occupy Ukraine to
Okay,
its borders.
let's assume that somehow that happens. I think you end up with a situation where there would be an ongoing guerrilla war in Ukraine for a minimum of 10 to 20 years. People have to remember, and most people aren't aware of this, at the end of World War II, 1945, anti-Soviet Ukrainian partisans continued fighting against the Russians up through the mid-50s.
Yeah.
Okay. And they were not a well-supplied force or trained force or anything, and they continued that resistance that long. Imagine with the amount of arms that are currently resident in Ukraine, with all these people with combat experience, how much resistance they're going to put up to a Russian reoccupation of their country.
Yeah.
So skipping ahead from that, because as long as some sort of guerrilla partisan campaign is going on, I don't see the Russians having the ability to do much of anything other than pacify that.
I will. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, so skip ahead from that. So let's assume 2025, they somehow magically win the war. Skip ahead to 2045-ish, and they're free of that encumbrance of an ongoing insurgency. At that point, yeah, I think you're going to see Russia decide where else they want to expand. Yep. And at least from the noises they've been making, I think the Baltic states are the most likely of the victims.
Yep.
Because they're small, they're not well populated, they have relatively small militaries, they're quasi-isolated geographically from the rest of NATO. So that would be, I would think, the most likely place they would try to do something. The difference, of course, is that those three countries are now NATO members. So any attack on them triggers Article 5. And so the Russians have to weigh into the decision-making process of whether to hit those countries, whether or not they want to risk outright war with NATO.
I completely agree with Commander, and I'll expand on it a little bit more and say that remember that, you know, this war, technically you could call it, depending on how you want to define it, if you want to go all the way back before hot war even started in 2014 and say there was hybrid warfare, you know, leading into the revolutions, or even going as far back as the 90s, you could even say, is this one war? Is it three different separate phases of the same war? Is it more than one war? Because remember, the hot war, the real, not hybrid war, not politics and intelligence and counterintelligence, all that, actual bombs falling and bullets flying started in 2014. And we basically consider that to be one continuous war that then had the full-scale invasion in 2022. But
when you say we, who do you mean we?
Well, I mean, I guess, yeah, that's a good question too. I guess when I speak to most people, they don't say there's been two Ukraine wars. They refer to one war with a full-scale invasion in 2022. But you know, splitting hairs, however you want to define it or describe it. Bottom line is, Chechnya is an example. There was more than one Chechen war. The bottom line is Ukraine will be free. And the real question is just this: is it going to be definitive, decisive victory now, which is what we need to be striving for? Or is it going to be, as Commander said, decades of guerrilla warfare, Ukraine and Russia doing more hybrid warfare against one another, and eventually a second full-scale war breaking out, Ukrainians assisting guerrilla fighters? At the end of the day, either Ukraine wins or there's more war. That's it.
Yeah, I agree. Somebody apparently, I didn't see it or catch it in this chat stream, asked about Moldova. That's another possibility. But,
also Georgia.
Yeah, but I think from the standpoint of economic impact, if Russia's trying to gain economic benefits from anything, that the three Baltic countries are probably the most lucrative for them to hit. Moldova really doesn't have a whole lot of important natural resources. Georgia has some, but it presents its own problems because of terrain.
And when it comes to both Moldova and Georgia, it's not really, the only big issues I can really see would be Romania becoming a bigger adversary, like taking it very personally and becoming more of an enemy of Russia if Moldova were completely taken. And same thing with Turkey feeling like they're being, you know, getting a little too close to our border there, buddy. So I think it just comes down to, would Russia be more scared of a fight with NATO, well, I mean, Romania is part of NATO, but yeah, a fight with NATO versus a fight with Turkey. That would determine where they would focus their attack. And I guess, I mean, yeah, Turkey's also in NATO, but they kind of do their own thing.
Yeah, quite a bit.
The other problem is you have to define Turkey by whether you mean Turkey the country or Erdogan,
or the bird
or the leader, Erdogan.
Well,
because he's kind of an individual player who has a very different agenda than the average Turk.
I would agree with you, except I feel that his party, the AKP, it's gotten the well's been pretty well poisoned. Unless the CHP can have a comeback of some sort, even if Erdogan were gone, there's like three guys in the wings waiting.
I've got an impression of that well.
The goat always works.
Not inaccurate. Not inaccurate in the least.
Dick is like, this conversation has gone too serious. It's been too serious for too long. Bring on the goat.
There you go. There you go.
Okay, so I took the conversation down a dark alley. Now I want to take you into an even darker premise.
Go.
that another what if situation, because Commander was talking about, it could be like 20 years of, of Russia occupying before anything else happened, before they step forward. Now then, let's take us in a situation like, okay, maybe just like next year when the US has a new president, and that president wants America to leave
A new old
NATO.
president? Okay, sorry.
Yeah, that president wants to. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be Trump, but just imagine that. But someone like that got into power. They want the US to leave NATO, and now then their NATO is now longer supported by the US. Do you think that's going to change the balance of power in Europe and Russia in a huge way?
James, what do you think on that?
I'm wondering what President Harris is going to do.
Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
Well, first thing would be
but I think that that's it's a real question. I mean, she's effectively. I mean, I'm voting for Biden, remotely and all that. But she's, in my mind, I think she's going to become president at some point in the next 4 years. And what is her policy going to be? And probably sooner rather than later. And that's the better alternative, obviously, to the Great Orange one. Yeah, but but then the question remains: what happens after that? Okay, and is America going? If you listen to Peter Zion, which I do and I don't, but he has the theory that because of geography and geopolitics and just in general America's overall economic independence, we don't need the rest of the world anymore. So we're going to keep going in this direction away from globalization, essentially.
Back to isolationism.
Yeah, and it's a real distinct possibility.
Oh, I agree.
And one thing I think that our politicians, all of our Western politicians, maybe, just going back to what you were talking about, Commander, about, what if Ukraine loses or whatever, I think that as a consolation prize, they would be happy with a new Cold War. And I mean, both on the Western politician side and maybe they're thinking even Putin will just be like, okay, let's just have a new Cold War. But the problem is Ukraine is the sacrificial lamb for that.
Yeah.
Good point.
I think if you get a situation where the US kind of retracts, then Europe itself has to kind of, by default, stand up and become its own independent actor, defend its own interests against an aggressive Russia. I don't see how they could avoid it.
It's unavoidable right now already.
Oh, I agree. I mean, and you can see from the increases, massive increases in some cases, in the defense budgets of European states, that they're realizing that the old Cold War paradigm really doesn't hold quite as true as it used to.
I would agree with that big time. Those days are gone, but you still got these old hardliners that are just hanging on to it for dear life.
Oh yeah.
I think.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say. Also remember that it was like pulling teeth to get the U.S. involved in World War II. In World War I, there was some involvement, but World War II, there was a lot more from the U.S. And at that point,
and arguably FDR did a lot of fairly underhanded things to almost force us to get involved.
Yeah, exactly. So there's kind of these cycles of globalization, isolationism, American exceptionalism, kind of being like going back and forth between we should be involved in everyone's business and we should not be involved in anyone's, just stay in our own little corner of the world because we've got a continent and no immediate major threats on our borders, not counting Russia next to Alaska. So yeah, the bottom line is that there's almost this, I won't say complacency, but it seems like every couple of decades, the U.S. falls into this lull of, we don't have any major threats. There's nothing we need to worry about. Why are we so involved in everything all around the, going on around the world? I think there will be a wake-up call, and the U.S. will answer the call to arms. But the problem is this: what's going to be the catalyst? Are we going to need to have another freaking Pearl Harbor before the U.S. decides, okay, now we're going to get involved?
I think that Putler is being very careful not to do another Pearl Harbor,
Yes.
with that notion in mind. China might do something.
We already saw what happens when you push the bear, right?
It gets really drunk on vodka and then throws a tantrum.
It sounds like my family. I love it.
But what was it Winston Churchill said? America will always do the right thing after everything else has been tried.
Exactly.
Very accurate statement. Stumbling into success.
Yeah.
Well, don't forget, America during the the breakout of World War II were kind of aligning themselves to the German Nationalist Party,
In many ways.
and we're also kind of like seeing that in modern America too, where a lot of popular opinion is pro-Russian. So if we had that dark time with America that's pulled away from NATO, we might see public opinion siding towards Russia, and they might not be helping us. They might be helping.
Which only goes to show. No, but
It-
but that goes to show, that kind of line of thinking goes to show how powerful the disinformation war on social media and stuff is right now. This is what we're talking about, right?
Oh yeah. Well, and today it's just faster and more immediate and more, I don't know, tailored for the ADHD, 5-second attention span of many people.
That's me.
But it's also targeted.
It is targeted. Well,
It's not one broad, this is the message we're trying to convey. It's dozens of little, very specific, narrowly focused messages to interest groups.
And
That's one of which
they infiltrate those groups and get that message across so that they have a broader reach in total, right? Jana, go ahead.
Seka and I were talking about it on his stream a while back, because we were talking about how in South Africa Russia has split up, or how Russian propaganda has gotten a foothold here in South Africa,
Big problem.
and it's interesting how they've got two completely separate groups of people. They've got kind of like the ultra white racist group of people who see Russia as the last place where, the typical kind of the last place for family values, and in Russia it's pure bloodlines, and I mean you're like bordering there on
People
that's
don't
the
realize
euphemistic-
how
and then on the other side, completely on the opposite end of the spectrum, you've got Russia liberated us from apartheid, from, first of all, colonialism. I'm like, no, they didn't. They weren't even around.
Nope.
We did a whole debunking thing on that. And then
That would have been so fun.
Yes, it's hilarious. We did a whole debunking thing on that, on like a few friends and I on Twitter. We debunked that whole thing. And then they were like, okay, wait, that one's not working. So they tried again with apartheid. And we were like, no, actually, if you look at it, Russia was trading with the apartheid government. Ukraine was helping the resistance, the anti-apartheid movement.
wow.
And Ukraine was one of the nations that actually wrote the charter against apartheid.
Wow.
But Russia, or like Ukraine, the Soviet state of Ukraine, but Russia has always like pitched themselves as the successor of the Soviet Union, and that's what they came into South Africa as, kind of, as continue to do.
Right.
And what you're stuck with is you've got this one group of people seeing Russia as the answer to dismantling the West, dismantling colonialism, dismantling everything that is like all Western values. And on the other side, you've got a group of people who believe Russia is the last place where Western values and family values count. And I just made a comment to someone. I'm like, it's a very good thing these groups hate each other based on skin color. Otherwise, we would have a big problem. And it's just the way they've changed the narrative, just very, very slightly. But yeah, just a little
just
tweak.
a 2-degree twitch, and boom, look what
Exactly.
happens, right?
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, and I think part of the problem is so many people view Russia with the same prismatic view of the way we thought of the Soviet Union, which is this giant, monolithic, evil empire thing. And it's not really the same today. It's a much more subtle, nuanced, and going in multiple different directions to achieve its own Russian interests.
Yeah.
And people are, in many cases, too simple-minded or too unwilling to devote the time necessary to understand how they're being manipulated. So they just fall for it. And
just unaware of history and
exactly.
geography. Yeah. I want to point out just one little thing. It's incredibly ironic to me that a lot of the people who are pro-Russia now, okay, and they're all about no foreign wars in America, were the same people who were all pro-Iraq war back in 2003. Those people who were saying, let's go bomb.
Yeah, bomb Iraq, bomb Afghanistan, America, and now all of a sudden it's, we don't want to get involved.
It's the same. You've got the same like polar thing going on in America, where you've got those same people who are like bomb Iraq, bomb Afghanistan. Exactly. And then if you're on the terrible side of Twitter, where you've got your ultra liberal tankies, you've got them like, what is that chick? She always wears pink. And then she goes to the...
Oh, it's Code Pink. It's a whole group.
Oh, yeah, that woman. That's why I said,
The whole group of them, yes.
Yeah. I mean, they're just completely like, and she would never sit next to the group of people who are like, bomb Iraq, bomb Afghanistan. Oh. But at the same time...
Yeah.
Well,
she's working for the same side.
Exactly. And that's once again just that thing of where Russian propaganda has just tweaked it a little bit.
Oh yeah. Well, and sorry, I had to step away for 1 sec.
Phobos would be so proud.
I think you came back about 2 seconds too soon, to be honest.
Right?
Get that man a cough drop.
I know. And I've been running around so much, my phone got misplaced somehow during the stream. Anyway, if we're talking about right versus left and propaganda focused on either one, 1970s in the US as an example, there were a lot, and I mean a lot of focuses on far left groups that were focused on basically just kind of opposing American centrism and right-leaning economic well, and again, it was the 1970s, so social values were there was a lot.
They were terrible. That's where I come from. Exactly, I'm a living example.
I was born in the 70s. I mean, it can't be that bad, right?
Yeah, but I was born in 70, so I literally grew up through that crap, right?
Yeah, and so today, it differs for each country depending on what decade, what generation. In the U.S., there's a bigger focus on far right groups and the extreme MAGA right and other far right groups in Idaho, in Texas, in West Virginia. There's a couple of groups that I keep tabs on that I could go off on all day about. But the bottom line is, there's still plenty of stuff like Jana was saying with that one group, you know, and it's not always even Russian propaganda. You see a lot of other actors, of course, taking part in the whole Israel-Palestine debate as well, of course. So the real problem is just this: propaganda, susceptibility to it, and which particular groups are catching enough fire to disrupt your society. How do we cut down on this? And that's the billion-dollar question.
I think Julia showed it on her stream yesterday, and it was just a snippet of a United 24. Oh, United 24 took a snippet of an interview with some other Soviet defector, or I forgot his name, but he spoke about how Russia, back then the Soviet Union, the Russian Soviet Union, basically divides countries. And he said, you find one thing, and all you do is you work on splitting people against each other. So you create a divide: rich versus poor, black versus white, this group versus this group, and you just work on putting out like this religion versus this religion, and you just work on stoking the flames. And once that country is ready to fall, you come in and you dismantle it, and that's how you take a country, and that's how you conquer it.
Yeah, create division before you go in militarily.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
And that makes it so much easier then, right? You know, yeah.
To bring it down to a single maxim or a single phrase, divide and conquer. I mean,
basically, yeah.
I mean, the Romans were masters at it. It hasn't changed in millennia. I mean, it has, the tactics and the technology, but the general principle is the same.
Yeah. So here, let me jump in here. We got a couple of shout outs to do. So we got Mertzy in the chat there. Hello, good to see ya all. Big shout out member message there. So Mario Boing for you. We got Leathercat in the chat. Honestly, in order of most to least, or least likely. So honestly, this is a question to everybody. In order of most to least likely, and remind me to re-ask this to James when he's back. Georgia/Moldova, Estonia/Latvia, Lithuania/Poland, Finland, Romania. So this is in reference to the political stuff there a minute ago. But any thoughts there? I'm somebody who's hopeful for the future that we can get over the borders and just start being people who get along a bit more and start having more respect for the put yourself in the other person's shoes and see it from their side. Maybe your need to honk your horn to get your coffee faster in the morning isn't quite so important, right? But yeah.
I get what you're saying, but even in situations like, say, what's going on, and I hate to call it this, but we'll be honest, the experiment in Europe with the EU and that whole idea of a unified European macro state with individual nations within it, the US with our states. How many people in the U.S., for example, I can't speak for Canada, but certainly in the U.S., identify as I'm from Idaho or I'm from Nebraska, as opposed to I'm an American? And in Europe, it's much more pronounced as I identify as, Hungarian or French or what have you. Trying to achieve that unity is much harder than you would hope for or think.
Yeah.
And it goes back to, prehistoric times almost, because you knew the people in your tiny little village, your hamlet, your family group even. Mm-hmm. And anybody outside that was a stranger and automatically a threat to you. And we've never quite gotten out of that advanced chimp mode of how we view the world.
Dan, the outsiders. Yeah, exactly. I totally agree. I mean, we've made leaps and bounds even since like the 50s, but even still, we're nowhere near where we need to be, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see here. So, we've got Leathercat in with a member message here. Or no, super chat. Sorry. So, boom for Leathercat. Do you remember that, as I recall, in brackets there, Moscovia is not in the USSR, different name, borders, flag, identity, and everything. And they never signed the UN Charter, thus they illegally occupy the Soviet UN seat.
Mhm.
Remember
It's
that
a legal theory. It's gaining traction.
yeah,
You know,
but
ATP Geopolitics did a big thing about that about a week
Well,
ago.
And here's another
it's
thing.
important to remember that the USSR had 3 UN seats. They did. When the
Yeah.
UN was formed, they got 3. And when the USSR broke up, those got divided. So you had the one that was Russia, then Ukraine and Belarus each got one as well.
That's right.
And then-
That's right. Yeah.
Right. And then you have all the Stan brothers. When they break away, they have to apply for membership to get in.
Like, why?
Yeah, because technically one might argue that, oh, well, they were all part of the USSR, so maybe they don't qualify. But Russia loves to play that game of, we're being persecuted, so we get a little more to counterbalance for us being persecuted. But the reality is they're the persecutor.
The persecuted aggressor.
Well,
Yeah.
and I can tell you exactly why the others had to apply, and only Russia, Ukraine, and Belarus were, allowed into the UN immediately, automatically. It's the same reason that Russia has a bigger focus on attacking and trying to absorb and trying to kidnap civilians from these countries. It's because they don't want to rebuild the USSR in the way people think. They only want, going back to what Jana was saying, an ethnocentric, single language, single people. And to do that, they want to destroy the cultures and languages of these other nations who they don't
I
see as
recognize
legitimate.
him.
Hey!
Look at this fellow, babies. We got none other than Professor Geres in the show.
You and I have never
God,
met,
there it is.
actually. Good to see
He's
you.
looking at us very suspiciously. It's like a different question.
Yeah, and chat can't see him
Does
yet.
he know he's
Yeah,
here?
well, I'm working on the hexagons, but he'll see him in the big thing there. Professor G, can you hear us? Are you there?
Don't pick your nose.
Or your friend's nose. Don't do that either.
I don't
Stop
think
playing Call
he
of
doesn't know
Duty.
he's here, guys.
All right, let's see if we can do this here. So
I like it. I think it's a good image. It's a good one.
there
Very
we go.
inquisitive.
We're getting there. We're getting there. Lord Thunder.
Yes.
Oh, wait a minute. I shouldn't do that. He'll give me hell.
We have space.
Heck.
And he would be justified in doing so.
I was
No.
speaking Newfie there. Sorry.
You can say hell.
So, Professor, do you hear us, buddy?
I do now. I had a mute on and or mute for the
there
sound
we
for
go.
me to be able to hear. I can hear you now.
All right. We've got an echo from you, but I just put the echo
Hello,
cancel
Dr.
on, so we should be good.
That was because I was listening to your conversation before that, and I just turned that off. So that might have been what was going on.
Oh, I still hear it. Is our YouTube channel coming through, maybe?
No, I turned that off. I thought.
Let's see. There could be an echo from somewhere else. You never know. Here, let me just get on it here, everybody. Okay, how are we there? Oh, that might be it. All right, now we're good. All right. Professor Geres, the leader of the Ivy League Warriors here on YouTube, who have done amazing work in donations and support. Welcome to the show again. Great to have you, man.
Thanks for letting me come back in. I was listening to what you were saying, and you're talking about the no borders and the experiment with Europe and that kind of thing. I think people are just truly horrible. I mean, they just really are. And if you let them be horrible, they'll be horrible. If you encourage it, they'll do it.
Horrible.
And there are restraints that have to be put into place over time. And if those restraints are put into place, like the Constitution, which is a pretty firm check, then certain things happen. And without that, other things happen. And that's what's playing out. Like you want to erase borders, and that might work between you, Dick, you're in Canada, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that might be work. I honeymooned took a cruise up Canada and back, right? You people were way too nice. It was just there's something like so with Canada as on our border, that's one thing, but the border with Russia, I think it might be a little bit different because they're different people with a different cultural context who don't have the history and legacy of the checks and balances and the restraints that we have had, that we inherited largely from Britain. Like their constitution, they think of a constitution as 700 years of documents from the Magna Carta forward, right? I mean, seriously, that's the way that they think about their constitution. And we've inherited that. And so we think about it differently. But even the way that the Russians think about a meat wave assault, that's a good idea. Commander, you have to be cringing every time you hear of a meat wave assault, right?
Oh.
I mean, how horrible does that rub against your grain when you think about the inexcusable loss of human life for something like that? If it's unnecessary, like if it has to happen, it has to happen, and we get that. But to do it unnecessarily, like.
So it's like the Battle of the Somme. You send them across the trench.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, it's like the Battle of the Somme. You send them over the trench and, they all got killed. Let's try it again, see if it works this time.
Yeah.
It happened again. Let's try it again. It's insanity. And that's kind of what the Russians are doing. But when you don't give a damn.
I was just going to say that is the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over, waiting for a response to change, right?
Right, but part of it, and, not to put too fine a comb through the hair here, but it's because you have upper-class people who don't view the rank and file as human, and you got that in World War I because the aristocracy ran the military. So it's like, oh, the peasants are dying. How unfortunate. Try it again. And for the Russian government today, it's the same kind of thing. It's like, they're not oligarchs. Why do we care if they get killed? Just try it again. And that's where we're at. And, you end up with a situation where you have a more sophisticated society that actually starts valuing the lives of its citizens. Right. And you have a direct clash of ideologies.
Oh.
Well,
yeah,
also,
I remember Professor Timothy Snyder mentioned a similar thing where he said Russia is basically using the full-scale invasion as kind of a genocide on their minority groups and their unwanted, what they view as less desirable groups as well.
Yeah, you're in my mind.
Oh, did I? Okay.
Yeah,
and that's what he said about it. Yeah, so I think it's also that thing, and I mean, also the fact that we can basically joke and say they are, with the prisoners that they use, as troops, like, we're joking and we're calling them the penal brigade,
Yeah, but in some ways you're correct. This is, for the Russians, there's an element of ethnic cleansing through combat. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, well, and of course, the other aspect of it that we all are very aware of is the fact that, look, it doesn't matter if it's convicts, doesn't matter if it's political liberals or other opposition you don't like who you arrest, and then that gives you an excuse to send them, or if it's literally citizens of other countries, just anyone who's not an upper middle class or higher ethnic Russian. Basically, there's, whoever it has to be, find them, send them, so we don't kiss off our own oligarchs and our own people who actually could manufacture a coup.
The base of support.
Yeah, the base of support, exactly. So the bottom line is that part of it is getting rid of undesirables, but that's more of a symptom. The real mechanism, the real reality of it is just find anyone other than a rich Russian to send into combat right now.
Oh, good call.
And my thesis still stands. People are horrible universally unless they are constrained by something else, and that constraint in to a large degree is culture. And the culture that makes us go, how can you do that, is one that's not there in Russia, which is like, hey, this is a great deal. We're getting rid of the prisoners and we're getting to get this territory in Ukraine. Right. Two totally different mindsets. And unless you realize that we have very different mindsets, you're going to get the Russians all wrong. And I mean, that's even in something very simple, like appeasing Putin, which is not a good idea, which we think, hey, we've offered this olive branch, and he thinks, hey, they're capitulating. So you just have to recognize that there's different mindsets. So
I think people would realize that appeasement didn't work after Chamberlain gave us that lesson.
Yeah. James, why Ukraine?
I would.
I just wanted to do an introduction here. So Professor Geres, Darren there. This is James from Why Ukraine. Oh, okay, good. I wanted to make sure everybody knows
we know each other.
Good. Because I was yeah.
Dr. Gertis, helped me a lot when I was just getting started more than a year ago with my first big boost of subscribers. He repped me first, so
cool.
Nice.
It's pretty crazy.
Cool. Well, you see,
it's awesome. It's awesome.
Darren, wouldn't you say this community just simply envelops the right people, doesn't it?
Yeah. So I think that because the problem is as great as it is, we're alert that we need to work together. And as horrible as human beings can be, they also have great potential to do great things. And we ought to be looking at those with low subscribers that are good quality YouTubers about Ukraine, because you won't find this on the evening news, generally speaking. You will find the Moscow attack, but you won't find what's going on in Ukraine for the most part. Find those with low counts and then just help them, push them. I mean, do that. I mean, try to amplify these voices. So the more the merrier. It's not a zero-sum game. The same guy that's going to watch me is going to watch you, and vice versa. So spread the wealth to people that are actually trying to have a different angle on what's going on.
Yeah.
People ask me all the time, like, what can I do to help? I don't have money. I'm disabled. I can't. I'm like, well, you know what? You can subscribe, and share as many of these pro-Ukraine platforms as you possibly can. If you can do nothing else, that's very helpful. Help us break out of the Ukraine bubble.
Yeah. And also, I was just going to say, because I don't think you and I have met outside of super chats. So yeah,
that's correct.
Nice to meet you, Professor.
And even now I haven't, because you just look like an owl.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's how he looks in real life. Actually, I've seen.
Is that right?
Exactly
just exceedingly wise.
Yeah. That was hilarious.
No, you should join Rick's stream. Then you get to see him with the sorry.
He needs to clean
with the COVID mask on.
Yeah, I wear a mask because I was told I had to be on camera.
No, you have a face for radio, man. You should.
I love it.
That is the most polite insult I've ever heard. Thank you.
Dr. Geres there, while you're here, could you send a note over to ATP and see if he's awake and maybe wants to join? That would be really cool.
I can, but the comeback that you should have said, this was a Speaker of the House from the 1800s or something. After being insulted, said I've been called worse things by better people.
Yeah.
Wait, was that during Bloody Kansas before that one?
I don't remember who it was. I just remember reading it some time ago, and I've used it quite frequently. It's a fun one.
I just remember the one guy who got caned literally into brain damage right before the Civil War.
Yeah, that was Sumter.
Yeah, it was Sumter.
So I would like to disagree with Dr. Gertis's premise and thesis here that people are inherently bad. Just to be contrarian, I would like to posit that people are inherently good, and in this case, in Russia, what we are seeing is a case of culture making people bad, because I think it's about values. Okay, and in this case, I actually think that it's about family values. In other words, Russians have very strong family values. They value family. They value their family, and that's a huge part of their culture, right? And they value their family so much that if you're not part of their family or whatever they define as their family, you're not human.
Is that why it is perfectly okay in Russia to beat your wife, like legally? Because
Possibly.
because you can domestic violence is not seen as a crime in Russia. So I guess they really value their family.
Right.
She's from another family, so it doesn't count.
Oh, you're not wrong though, brother.
I know.
Yeah. I could tell you some stories about this, but I won't. I mean, I literally have family in Russia, and I recently had an issue. Well, not me personally, obviously, but they in Russia had a serious domestic violence issue.
Oh, that sucks.
And I don't know why she's still with him. I don't know. I don't know why. You know, crazy.
I'll throw my hat in the ring real fast
Black and
for
blue.
this.
Whole body black and blue.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
that's bad.
Yeah,
that's nasty.
Yeah.
I'll quickly throw my hat into the philosophical debate. I don't think that people are inherently good or bad. I really think people are just inherently people, and that's, a pretty healthy mix of both. The problem is this: people are followers. People follow those with power. And in many systems, many places around the world, the easiest way to attain that power is to be an asshole, is to be evil, is to be someone who is willing to make certain calls, do certain forms of aggression and intimidation, and engage in corruption that results in something like Russia, like a mafia state. Of course, you can have the opposite. You can have good values. You can have a crackdown on corruption. You can have positive traits that lead to an amassing of power. But I think that the reason why people so often think humans are inherently bad is because you have so many leaders who make use of that unfortunate reality to, convince other people to do horrible shit.
Yeah.
I think there are very few people who wake up in the morning and say, "I'm going to be evil today." Instead, they use some external justification for that.
Putin doesn't think he's evil.
Says, "I am going to rebuild." Yeah.
I mean, so we're all deluded. We all think that we're better than we are. Like there are studies that show that we think that we're more likely to go to heaven than Mother Teresa, like the average person. Right? I mean,
I am for sure.
Right. I mean, so what he just said here about neither good nor bad, I'd say they have both tremendous ability to do good. Look at what the Ukrainians are doing. Look at what the YouTube community is doing, and tremendous, but left to their own devices, tremendous ability to do evil simultaneously. And he's right about the power. There's a vast literature that power corrupts. Lord Acton was right. Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Yeah. But he went on to the next line of that and said, even when it's only influence and not authority, that's scary.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, there's something about power. Like I heard my 10-year-old talking to my 7-year-old, like, well, when I was your age.
There's a reason why in English the common vernacular is drunk on power, because it does intoxicate you.
It's the adrenaline from it. It's that there's a thing, as a guy who made his living as a professional musician for a bunch of years, I can tell you, when you're on stage in front of 3,000 people that are liking what you're doing, you can feel a touch of that already. You do.
So tell me this then, if that's the case, is that what accounts for a very heavy. I'm just intellectually curious here.
Yeah.
A very heavy dose of destructive behaviors that follow from that.
Very
compared to the
often.
mass in society.
Very often, because what happens is you believe you're above the repercussions of the behavior, right?
Well, that's why Clinton said he did what he did with Monica Lewinsky, right? Thought I could get away with it.
Cigars for everyone. No, I'm kidding.
Anytime that you think that you're above that, you got to watch out. Humility is the antidote to this kind of thing.
You're not wrong, Prof. That's why so many of the cool classic rock bands have come back with a big comeback, because they actually learned their lessons, grew up, and came back to play music, right? Same
That's
thing.
really interesting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I gotta
Dick?
get. I gotta get. going here
Arguably,
in a
I would
few
say
minutes,
term
so-
limits are the antidote.
Dick,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I gotta wave bye-bye to the gang. So
Yeah. Yeah,
you
we're going to
guys take
lose.
care. Good
We're
chat.
going to
We
lose
missed you already.
Commander and I think Sakai as well. So say your goodbyes, everybody.
Doodle-doo.
Bye.
Fellow babies,
Go, bye-bye,
before the
Tina.
commander leaves, don't you think we should do a fundraiser to get him one of these mics now? I mean, isn't the commander one of the big people on this channel, right?
No.
Don't listen to him. Here, I can make his hexagon go away. Don't worry about that.
Use the money for something intelligent,
Yeah,
please.
well, yeah, but when it comes to intelligent, you're the intelligent regular. So, you know.
What am I?
That's a stretch.
What am I? Chopped liver?
I'll tell you.
Only
after.
the
I don't wanna
finest
do-
chop liver.
I'm not doing that on the show.
Your foie gras. All right, sports fans. I'll catch you next week. Take
Take
care.
care, brother commander.
Commander.
Love you,
Bye-bye.
man. Awesome. And Secular Sakai, I believe you're saying goodbye right now as well.
No,
Oh, go ahead, James.
Yeah.
Oh well, yeah. I mean,
maybe he already left.
Sorry.
Yeah, well, Commander already bailed. Yeah. He's slick like that.
Yeah, I've still got like one more minute. Yeah, I'm getting ready to go too as well.
1 minute. Yeah.
But yeah, no, this was a good stream. Unexpectedly got a chance to talk a little with Professor Gerdes, which is great. I've been wanting to talk with you for a while. I wish I could stay. I definitely will not be booking as many things that I need to do next weekend compared to today. But anyway, yeah, it was great to see everybody. I am gonna, Tridents Against Tyrants posting a new video tomorrow. We're still doing our fundraiser. If you want to help the 110th Mechanized Brigade, please check out the channel. Aside from that, I'll see you all next week, and thanks for having me.
All right, buddy.
Rock on, man.
Awesome.
Thank you.
We
See you,
will
buddy.
see you very soon, but take care.
Can I go
Yeah.
back to an
So-
earlier theme?
Do what you want to, Prof.
Yeah,
It's all yours.
James was not wrong about culture and the effect of culture. So while I would say I would modify that to say they have this tremendous ability, but they tend to be pretty bad. Culture is the amplifier. But I mean, look. So one of the people on my one of my subscribers said something I thought it was so profound. It was Russians are peasants, Ukrainians are Cossacks. And when he said that, I was like, oh yeah, there's such a difference in the culture. Like Russians just kind of like, well, I'm just going to take that. And what are you going to do? And Ukrainians were like, no, we're having another revolution or whatever the equivalent is. We're not going to take this. And so there's something deeply seated in that culture that allowed them to do that they're probably genetically pretty similar. Probably like historically the family trees go back somewhere together. And so there's something significantly different in culture is that attribute. And James is right about that.
Yeah, I would say a good shout on that one for sure. Did James freeze? He just seems to be staring off into space on us there.
He's
Do you see
thinking
that?
deeply.
There he is. All right. So a couple of quick shout outs here, and then we'll get right back to the chatter. So We had the man of the wood coming in with a member's message. Don't say Trump has culture, please. Yeah, I'll give you an explosion for that.
Well,
'cause that's
bacteria
good.
is still a culture.
Okay. Oh wow, James, that was awesome. And then I get to do a little Frank Zappa here. So we hang out in Bill's garage. His mama would say, "Turn it down." So Bill's garage in with a super chat here. How do you safe a drowning fatnik? You don't. Shit floats. We got Mark Schneider, 80-20-22 in there for a super chat. Russian society comes from a culture of imprisoning dissent. Its values are the values of the prison yard. Now, that's a very boom comment, but it is actually quite true. I'll give you that. For sure. Silver Earth in with a member message. Silver Earth is a massive supporter around here on the channel. Have a happy Easter and VPDFO. Goddamn dyslexia. Sorry. And then Adrian comes in with a super chat as well at the Shills. I'll match 5 times $100 Canadian PayPal donations towards the Medivacs. All right.
Wow.
You heard it here right now. I want to see the PayPal address light up with some donations because we got somebody laying it on the line to do the big show.
How much did you say?
He'll match 5 $100 donations,
Wow.
5 times 100. So here
That's
we
awesome.
go. Yeah, let's
Wow.
get him in. Let's get him in. I know the fellow babies can do it. Oh, yeah. Let's do it. That is some serious on the line stuff. Awesome. Let's go to our guest here, James. Where would you take the discussion now, considering where we've been and where we can go?
Yeah. Well, the irony of us having this beautiful philosophical discussion without Jonathan M.S. Pierce is tremendous to me. But maybe next time. Well, I don't know if it's okay, but I would just like to say I do have a fundraising page, and right now, in particular,
Shout it out.
I'm doing a raffle to raise money for a drone for my personal friends in the Alpha Company 1st Battalion who are out in the Chasiv Yard area right now. And so I spoke with Joe McDonald, Big Mac's Battle Blogs on YouTube, if you know. And asked him, like, what's a good drone that I can send to my guys that's not gonna cost too much. And he made a recommendation. It's on my website right now, whyukraine.myshopify.com, and you'll see if you scroll down to the second row where it says support Alpha Company 1st Battalion, and you'll see the raffle to help the Legion get an FPV drone. And it's a Spider 3 with a 6 kilogram load capacity and 20 kilometer range. And it's desperately needed. If we could at least send them one, it would literally be a lifesaver for my guys out there.
So what you got to do is give Secular Sakai the link so that I can give it to the mods and we can get it into the live chat and stuff.
Rocket.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get that on right now. Now, we've got a couple of videos from none other than Pete the Mad Medic. The first one would be when he gets some gifts from us and whatnot, and we got a second one as well. So, Jana, what you want to intro this so everybody knows what's going on?
What is the second one? Because I don't think I've seen the second one.
Well, I'm trying to remember here. He's doing the he gave me a little video of the quote unquote hot tub outside connected to the power thing. So
I
hot
haven't
bath.
seen that.
Oh, really? You're gonna love this. Yeah.
It's a premiere for me as well.
Yeah. All right, so let me get this all set up here. I got to actually turn on the audio for these as well. So this is Pete from Project Constantine. I know it's vertical video. Trust me, I'm gonna have the talk with them. But yeah, because I'm not happy with vertical video. That's for shorts. It's not for real videos, right? I can't, So here's Pete, and he's probably got much more cool shit to say than I ever could. Here he is.
Dearest Mr. Dawson, Mr. Dick Dawson, his amazing son Felix, and everybody at the Shills. This is what my old iPhone looks like. I could barely see the screen anymore. My name is Peter. I'm a combat medic in Ukraine. God blessed me with an English tongue and a voice, and He's given me the courage over time to use it. You all have blessed me with the technology to use these tools of mine with your tools to get the voice of Ukraine out there to the public of the world. It may seem like a small thing, an iPhone, don't get me wrong, an iPhone 15 ain't small. Everywhere I go, tongues are wagging. Where'd you get that? It's like I'm driving a spaceship when people see my phone. And the incredible microphone device that came along with it, which we can use for streams. And the incredible phone holder that came along with both of those. Guys, you didn't just donate a telephone, you donated me the means to help to be a voice for Ukraine. And that is an incredibly meaningful donation. So from the bottom of my heart, I ask God to bless you all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Dick. Thank you, the Shills. We love you so much. We, Ukraine, love you so much.
And then we've got a video from Pete as well. I'm going to show here. I don't know why the audio seems to be really strange. It seems low to me, but I'm trying to boost it as much as I can. But
because you didn't use the mics.
Yeah, well, he's not using them yet. We're going to have to do that, Jana. We're going to have to, right? We're going to have to set him
with
up.
Halina there now, she'll help him set it up, I'm
well,
sure.
She's probably laughing at him right now going, dude, it's that easy. Come on. They're DJI mics. I mean, what does it take,
No, she's just decided we've gotten to a point where we know that each of us have our strengths and our weaknesses, and we're really focused on that. Like a while back, we wanted...
Pete saves lives. He doesn't screw around with technology, right?
Yeah, we've gotten to the point where she had to do a thank you video, and Pete wanted her to do it, and she was like, I tried, but no, thank you, but no, thank you. You can do it. She's like, I'm not doing it. So we just all know what we're supposed to do and we just stick to it. And we just know we're always going to have to help Pete with technology.
Yeah. Okay, so here, everybody, I've got a great thing that I get to do here right now. I'm trying to get his hexagon ready, but we've got Jonathan from ATP here joining us. Welcome to the show.
Hello. I am happy to be here. Am I here? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Awesome.
We hear you. We see you. It's awesome. Please introduce yourself and tell everybody why you're so cool.
Well, I cannot be so self-aggrandizing to admit that I am as cool as I am. But I am here because I have a YouTube channel that has shown myself to be thoroughly obsessed with the war in Ukraine. It's ATP Geopolitics. I started off my YouTube career, I guess you could call it, as a philosopher of religion. So it's been a weird step to go into being a geopolitical analyst, if that's what I am. But I'm here to give my opinion on the war in Ukraine and the devastating consequences of a narcissistic, megalomaniacal dictator advancing his way into a sovereign, independent nation.
Oh, yeah. So you're like me. You just don't hold back, do you?
I find it, well, I hold back an awful lot more than I could do, because You will all know this, and Darren is at the opposite end of the political and I guess religious spectrum as I am, and he will know as well as all of us that we have audiences that take on the whole political spectrum, right? So we have to be cognizant of that. And I would alienate a lot of my audience if I went full throttle into what I really believe in terms of some of my political evaluations. So I don't hold back in some respects, but I do in others.
I appreciate that very much because I swear so much that it almost upsets Greg Terry's mother, but she is a viewer of our show, and I have promised that I'm going to do my best to not be so vulgar so that she can watch the show and enjoy it better.
Oh, you're a good boy, really.
I thought he was going to be talking about you, Dick.
Easy now. So, Jonathan, welcome to the channel. I mean, it's your first visit on the show. I feel like it's been a little bit too long, and I have to thank Professor G here for getting you over, because I was like, dude, get him. Come on. What are you doing? So let the fellow babies know that are watching here. Who are you? What do you do? And we'll get the link in the chat right now and get the subs going, right? Let's do it.
Well, it's rather late for me back in the UK, so I was just about to get myself to bed, and then Darren did indeed hit me with do you fancy coming onto a live? And like, yeah, why not? And as I say, I've been now covering the war. I was writing about it as soon as the war broke out for a secular media organization called Only Sky. And then I did a few videos on my philosophy of religion channel where I was giving my opinion about the war and what was happening and doing some kind of news analysis. And then I found out that I had far more of an audience for that than I did for my other stuff, and thought, well, I need to split my channels here.
Yeah.
And now I'm just full on at the moment, because there's so much about this war that is related to everything else that happens in the world. Like, we're playing 4D geopolitical chess here, as well as there being a war going on and all the things to do with military strategy. There's all the things to do with the politics in each individual country, from the US and what's going on in Congress, to Slovakia and Robert Fico, to Serbia and the Balkans, and of course Hungary and Viktor Orban, and then Poland, and then France and Emmanuel Macron. And it's just never ending.
It's a bloody long list, isn't it, brother?
It just, sometimes I do far too much content, right? So I kick out sort of 4 videos a day. And sometimes I think I could just do 24 hours of just me talking. And because there's enough content just consistently coming out, because it's so interrelated, because there are so many overlapping spheres of influence, so many overlapping topics. And there you go.
Yeah. Big deal. But no, I like the energy too. Like, you don't, well, I was gonna say you don't hold back, but you do. But I think I know what you're holding back, to be honest.
Just don't get me to talk about Trump.
Yeah. Have you, Jonathan? Have you had the pleasure of meeting James, our guest here today from Why Ukraine?
He's been on a number of
shockingly, yes.
Yeah, he's been on a number of my live streams. We've done some. We haven't actually. I haven't done as many live streams as I was doing, but he's come on and helped me do some analyses of the front line and whatnot.
Yeah, he was keeping up with Commander McMillan, our in-house expert on all things military, and that was almost intimidating. It was very impressive.
You don't know. I can whip it out sometimes.
Yeah, but we only do that on OnlyFans. So, Jana, let's go to the second video from Pete here, where we've got the let's call it the jacuzzi of the front line here. So, Jana has no idea what I'm about to bring up here. Nope. This was sent to me by Pete himself. So, yeah, check this out. I'll try to boost the audio the best I can. I don't know why it's coming out.
Oh no, he sent that. I just haven't watched the video yet because I've been working all afternoon.
Try to keep
Got
up,
it.
will you?
I will. I'll do better. I'll do better.
Okay, here we go.
Dear everybody at Project Constantine, John, Greg Terry Experience, Dick Dawson, Rick the Ukrainian, all our brothers and sisters out there in the world, let me show you what happens when you come from the front lines and you want to have a hot bath, and the Russians have bombed our electricity supply. Well, we take a EcoFlow donated by kind folks such as yourselves, bought with money from kind folks such as yourselves, and we take that EcoFlow and we plug it into the outdoor well, which is normally plugged into the electricity supply there, and then we pump water from our well all the way down there. It looks yucky, but it's not, because you can actually see the bottom. See how clear it is? It's just a bit of dust lying on the top there. Nothing wrong with a bit of dust, a bit of protein.
Perfect.
This, dear friends, is how we clean ourselves after front lines. And it's because of wonderful people like you that we can do that. We can afford the EcoFlow, because the Russians have killed our power supply. So we have such limited internet here that we can't make any streams tonight, because the power's down. But after ducking and diving bombs for 2 days, I'm now going to go inside and pass the foxtrot out. Love you guys. Love you all. Be in touch in a day or two when I've recovered. God bless you.
I love that guy, man. I don't care who you are and what you do in life. I'm not a religious man myself, but God bless Pete the Mad Medic. He is one of the greatest human beings I've ever had the pleasure to know. I love that guy.
Well, I am now on battery. I
Oh,
don't know if you can see. I'm now on battery backup power, apparently.
I was just
Welcome
going
to
to say, you look like you're auditioning for a really low-budget horror movie right now.
Wasn't he the one that was talking about a face for radio earlier?
Sting, baby, Sting.
Ouch! It is slightly worrying that I think the Russians have had I think increased success in taking out the energy infrastructure in Ukraine, and it's trying to work out exactly why they seem to be having more success this time round compared to 2 winters ago, when they were firing more explicitly at the energy infrastructure, will fire more missiles, but now they're firing fewer missiles at the energy infrastructure because
and
having
doing better, and they're doing better at it.
Yeah.
Can I explain a little bit?
Yeah.
What they're doing, if you notice the pattern, as I'm sitting here in the dark, what they're doing is one day they fire a bunch of Shaheeds and crappy missiles that aren't very expensive, and they use that to map out the location of Ukraine's air defenses. And they pretty much know now how long it's going to take Ukraine to move their air defenses to different places. So then the next day they fire their more intelligent missiles, which are able to redirect their routes midstream and all of that. They fire those the next day, and those are the ones that are going into Poland and looping around everywhere to get around where they know the air defense is going. And so there I go. I'm back again. So every other day is when you're seeing the most successful strikes. And just like I think the last strike, they got almost all the Shaheeds and all the dumb missiles, but then all of the smart missiles, the Iskanders and the KH, whatever they are, got through. And those are the ones that they've upgraded. So
yeah, and it's these ballistic trajectories from your Kinjals and your Iskander M's, the air defense, unless it's a Patriot and SAMP-T, maybe you're going to struggle to shoot them down, and those are stacked around Kyiv. So if you're firing at power stations littered along the Dnipro River, then you're going to be able to hit them with some kind of impunity, and that's a problem. This is why, it's interesting. Zelensky's rhetoric, I think, has changed this week, where he started to get a little bit pissed off, and he's saying, "Look, US, we need your patriots, and we need that aid package, because otherwise we are going to have to retreat, and it's not cool."
Jonathan, I gotta say, when Zelensky gets a little bit hot under the collar, I actually kind of like it. I like seeing the emotional driven part out of it for a second. I'm not saying that maybe it's the best political stance ever in a long-term play, but every now and then a little bit of just an honest burst, I don't mind, right?
Yeah, for you and I, as kind of admirers of decent morality, that's fine and good. The problem is it will entrench people who are already a little bit defensive, and by that I mean the GOP Republicans on the MAGA end of the spectrum, who are refusing to kind of give aid or playing hardball.
Yeah, they're using politics as a win instead of doing the right thing. I hate that. I can't respect that.
Absolutely, but unfortunately, as much as we may like what Zelensky says, I imagine the very people he's wanting to change the views of are the very people that are entrenched in their original position.
He's walking a fine line there, and I think he's done a pretty good job for 2 years. Like that TV movie career that he had has served him extraordinarily well in being able to thread these needles. He's been on message 99% of the time, and very, very few times was there a discordant note in what he was saying. But how would you feel if you were him trying to do what he's doing, taking a war to the Russians? And what choice does he have? Like the Washington Post article that came out yesterday. What choice do I have? I have to hit these oil refineries unless I have these other things in order to prosecute the war. He's right.
And I think it also shows that he is that how desperate things are in Ukraine. Like we can be forgiven for because it's the wishful thinking fallacy. We want Ukraine to prevail that we hold on to every sort of positive bit of news, and then we can be a little bit inaccurate in our understanding of what's going on. And the reality on the ground is that things are really tough in Ukraine, and they desperately need that aid from the US. And so when he gets a little bit hot under the collar, that is a reflection of how much pressure is on and how difficult it is for people in the corridors of power, but people on the ground in.
They took out 15% or so, give or take a little bit, of Russian oil refining capacity. The Joe Blogs video, the 45% Joe Blogs video, talked about how it hit the equivalent of where 45% was coming from. If it had disabled all that would have been 45. That's what they had in their power to be able to do. That's pretty remarkable. And Joe actually estimated how much that cost them, how many millions of dollars these strikes actually hit. It was worth it. Like that was a really good strategy, and they should prosecute that more. In my estimation.
Dr. Geres, while you're on it, could you give a quick shout out to the Joe Blog situation?
Yeah. So he was hacked. We don't know exactly who hacked or why they hacked, but he was. I saw Jake Bro post something, and then I went and checked. Well, sure enough, he was hacked. They had a cryptocurrency infomercial looping for a little while. That's now gone. I put out a video about this so that people would know and contact YouTube. He was trying to get people to contact YouTube through his Patreon. So his old channel is no longer there. He's hoping that YouTube will be able to restore it because he had 360,000 subscribers. So he now has a new channel with this morning he had 1,000, and by the afternoon, hold on a second, I can just look at this. He had, I can actually refresh. By right now, he has 9.25 thousand, which is pretty remarkable. And I'm kind of jealous, but I didn't start with 360,000. So that's what happened with him. So he has this new channel to try to get things up and running again. until he can get the old channel hopefully restored. But I mean, he lost 3 years of work. Videos are gone.
And if you want to help, you get on Twitter, X, whatever, and you do @Team YouTube, and you let them know that his channel was honestly and truly stolen from him.
Yeah.
Linus Tech Tips and a few have even had this happen. We're talking million sub channels, right?
I've had a bit of a scare over the last 48 hours because my channel was also somewhat hacked. So my watch history started changing, and I started getting stacked lists of videos I've never seen from like Indonesia, Thailand, Turkey. Wow. And so I knew that Joe Blogs had what had happened to Joe Blogs, and I was like, oh dear. And straight away I changed my Google password, my Microsoft password, because that's a backup email.
Yeah.
And I didn't have two-step verification on my Microsoft, and I think that's how they've got through. I did have two-step verification on Google, and as annoying as that kind of stuff is, it made me realize, oh my goodness, it is easy for people to get in the back door, and so I'm now going to be super tight on making sure, passwords and two-step verification and all that.
You got to be on it.
Earlier and mentioned this. So I had a hard time in the last few days posting. Like, it won't post, and you were talking about Apple something going on, and so every time I try to post a video, I have to like post, and refresh, and finally it'll go through. So I'm not sure what's going on there.
Dr. G,
weird
Dr. G, the mods in the chat will confirm. The other day when I was trying to post this event right now, I had to do, he's got power back. You see, he's all lit up now. But it took me 4 tries to get the damn event to even post. It kept erroring out, and YouTube's back in. I'm sorry. We're making you a lot of money on super chats and members and stuff. Seriously, step up and do better, right? Come on.
Absolutely. Can I go back to Darren's point about hitting the oil refineries in Russia? A couple of points. One is that, like I always say with Greg Terry and others, that all Ukraine need is stuff. And that's it. So I will say what I've said to my views, not that any of them will be here, but my view is that this is a relatively easy war to win. Like, conceptually, it's easy for Ukraine to win this because they just need the weapons. And
if the West would just simply put rocks in the slingshots, we'd be done, right?
But you just need and weapons is just money, right? And so therefore, it's political will. So the West or allies had the political will and could provide Ukraine with everything they need. They've got the ability to absolutely wreak havoc with Russia. So this leads on to the second point, which is, and this is the same for Russia, where you see these gaps between the big barrages of missiles and drones. My mantra is always, you would if you could, you aren't, so you can't. So that they don't do it on subsequent nights, consecutive nights, the Russians, means that they don't have the stockpiles of weapons, and they're firing them at the rates they're procuring them or producing them. But it's the same for Ukraine. So they would be able to cause so much damage in Russia. If they obviously don't have the drones and missiles produced. They're firing them at the rate they're producing them. But my goodness, if we could give them, or if they could produce 5 times, 10 times that rate, just Russia would be in all sorts of trouble. But then, I'm sorry, there's a lot of talking here, but my last point would be, the problem is, the better Ukraine, and I call this Putin Paradox, the better Ukraine do, the higher the chance it is of Putin doing something mental.
There is another option here, that we should actually be sending money to help arm Russia, because they just managed to shoot down another one of their planes, apparently.
Yeah.
The irony, right?
Yeah. So so what happened there, by all accounts, is a Pantsir air defense system in Crimea sent up an interrogation to the Su-27 SM fighter jet, and it didn't get anything back. So therefore, it shot it because it was like, well, I've asked you whether you're a friend or foe. But there was a problem with the interrogation communication from the Pantsir. So it wasn't the plane's fault. It was and it all went wrong. And then and even though the pilot ejected, I think the pilot didn't make it, which is almost more valuable, well, probably is more valuable than the plane itself.
Yeah.
I would just like
they're
to
all
say for
on
the record
timers.
that,
Go ahead.
I just like to say for the record that it's unfair that Johnny has an awesome accent where I could say the same thing that he just said, but I don't sound nearly as cool.
Dude, Prof G, I got that same thing going. Dunk and I do the 42 comedy news show a few times a week, and he's got this British accent that makes him sound all Monty Python and stuff, and I have to really push to make the humor hit, you know? All he has to do is speak, right? You know?
Well, it takes lots of training to sound as cool as this, as long as sound like you're on the BBC.
All I can say is that I'm fairly sure I'm half as intelligent as all of you guys, but I just sound like I'm twice as intelligent.
Yeah.
I'm joking. I obviously don't sound more intelligent. But...
It's
Or
funny.
do I?
So here, we're coming up on 2 hours 46. We don't want to go too long because the longer the stream, the less YouTube likes it, right? And
Can I ask a question then? Dick?
Yeah,
just
please do.
To get one in there before you try and close things off.
Oh, no, I was given like a 20-minute warning, not like a 2-minute. Oh, yeah.
What do you guys think of the Putin paradox? So if the better that Ukraine do, the more likely Putin is to do something crazy. And given he's potentially probably got health problems, he's doing things that maybe a rational actor wouldn't necessarily consider.
Jonathan, my fear is that because he's getting near end of life, he's looking at his legacy from the wrong side of history, and we might not be looking at a good thing.
Yeah, sure. I think what Sakai was talking about earlier about being drunk on power. You know, I used to be a bouncer when I was in my summers off between teaching, and a lot of times when you got a guy who's, you know, drunk and not being a rational actor, let's say, the thing he needs is just a big punch in the face. You know, a big punch in the nose will wake him right up. And I think that's the only way. So the de-escalatory argument, which is, oh no, we don't want to escalate. We can't.
He thrives on weakness.
Right, exactly. It just makes it where it's, you know, if you let the bully keep on bullying, he's not ever going to stop. You can't rely on this guy, you know, being. Using our morality. They have morality, but it's not the same kind of morality that we have. It's a completely different moral sense, and we have to look at it from their perspective. You know your enemy. Right?
The problem is I've often said that he's existentially connected to the outcome of the war in a way that no other human being is. So Zelensky, right? If Ukraine lose the war, Zelensky like either lives in the west of Ukraine or flies to America and lives in a villa in America. Like, you know, and the same with anyone else to do with the war. But if Putin loses a war, that's the end of his rulership, and the end of a dictator's rulership is either death or gulag, right? And so, like, Putin really is connected to the outcome of the war in a way that no other human is, and that again can affect the way that he makes his decisions.
So I have two important questions. And first, when was Putin ever a rational actor? And second, and I'm not being facetious either, when was he a rational actor in this? And second, how would he actually know that he's losing the war? Because in his authoritarian system, they're not telling him the truth all the way up the chain. Like his 3-day assessment, 3-week assessment, that's because his people were lying to him. And he's so cut off, so many levels cut off from reality, from frontline truth. I'm not sure how.
But I think your second question answers the first one almost. So there are some people that say that Putin is a rational actor, that actually he really is quite rational, but it's garbage in, garbage out. So because he lives in that information bubble where he doesn't have a smartphone because he thinks that the internet is a CIA conspiracy, and if you don't have any way of checking what the information people are giving you, other than to go back to other people or to those same people to check those people, then you live in that information bubble you're talking about, which means that you're making rational decisions, scare quote, but those that you're using the information within that bubble that is rational within that sphere, but outside of that sphere it looks bonkers. So the idea that he didn't know that invading Ukraine would lead to people being upset in Ukraine that they're being invaded, that he thought they'd welcome the Russian soldiers with open arms, hugs and flowers, it means that something was so drastically wrong in his information space.
Yeah. And so I think when you start to get worried about it is when you see vast firings of his inner circle, upper echelons. And that's when
that's when people fall out of
something
windows,
dangerous.
right? Yeah.
But that's why so many people that surround him are not very good. Like Gerasimov and Shoigu are arguably not particularly strong because they're not a threat. So he's already got rid of anyone that's a threat. But anyway, sorry.
Yeah, is it because we know that the Russian troops thought that they were going to be welcomed with open arms and flowers and everything, but we still don't know actually like how Putin viewed the whole thing, and I think that's the one thing that we probably will never know, because impression-wise, I don't really think, like from my point of view and where I'm looking at the thing is, I don't really get the thing that he looks at him liberating anyone. I am, from what I've read about him and what he does, it's very expansionist. Mm-hmm. So I'm not really seeing the thing of him thinking like, and perhaps it comes back to what Prof. Goethe said about him being irrational, not being rational. Because I don't think, knowing that you're going to invade a country and take over their territory at the same time then thinking you're going to be welcomed by these people. I don't see how these two can align.
Good point.
I'm saying that he's not an irrational actor, I'm saying it's because of the system that he's in. In an authoritarian system, you just don't have the same information that you need to be able to, because everybody's kissing up all the way up the system. Right. And so he was really taken off guard, I think, about how this went off. If he knew that 2 years later this would all be going on, I think he would never have touched it. Right.
That's a good shout, Professor. That's a good shout.
That's exactly what I think. I think the idea that he believes that there's liberation going on is all to do with his entire worldview. Medvedev's just come out in the last 2 weeks or within the last week saying, and with that big map behind him of Russia actually being most of Europe, and he literally saying that Russia has no borders. So the idea is that Ukraine is just part of Russia. It's historically part of Russia. They are one people. He's what I would call in philosophy an essentialist. So he thinks there's an essence of Russia, which is essentially anyone that he decides is part of Russia.
Like I was saying earlier.
Yeah, and so liberation.
Jonathan, we've been saying on the channel for a while now, he's rebuilding the old Union, but it's by force now, right?
It was by force the first time.
Well, pretty much, except the others didn't cry or say much about it in the news that I heard. But now,
So here's an I'm watching the Turning Point on Netflix. I don't know if any of you guys have seen that series about the Cold War. It's relatively new. It's really worth watching. And in one little saying that someone said, one of the experts said in one of the episodes was like, the difference between NATO and USSR is that NATO is a voluntary organization. And I'd never really thought of that, but of course it's and that goes to the whole idea of freedom, of authoritarianism, capitalism, communism, so on and so forth. But the Soviet Union was all like, you are part of us, and that's by decree type thing, whereas NATO is like, we want to join NATO, or the Warsaw Pact. It's a Warsaw Pact, sorry, not USSR was not voluntary, whereas NATO is voluntary.
And NATO Pact countries actually voluntarily joined NATO. That tells you something.
Yeah, that's And it also tells you
Yeah.
something about the thinking of the populace over time, because you don't just jump to that, right? You know what I mean?
Very, very, very quickly, Dick, I just need to jump in here for a second because I wanted to been asked to remind you that we had a challenge earlier for donations. Any donations coming in on PayPal for $100 or more, Adrian will match.
Yes,
up to
okay.
$500.
That's right. So we need the fellow babies to step up here, because we can hit 500 in donations. We're going to double that up, right? So let's bring it in. Let's bring it in. I know the group can do it. I've seen it around here before. As well, I do have a few super chat shoutouts and stuff to do. Blonde Bombsheller threw in a super chat there. A little something from my kids, Leon, Gracie, and Alex. Slava Ukraine. Love it. We've got BR Bowden in the chat there with a big super chat. So boom, 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 boom. Watching the 2024 election in the U.S. makes the movie Idiocracy from 2006, good film, a sci-fi comedy turn into a documentary. I wish that I could say that's hilarious and a great analogy or simile or something, but it's actually, So we're going to welcome Hangout in Bill's Garage to Shills Apprentice as well. So a big one there. Leathercat, the one doing all the paintings for Rick the Ukrainian's auctions and whatnot. My most to least likely is Moscovia Targets. Okay, yeah. The Man of the Wood comes in with a member message there. Don't say Trump has culture, please. Right? Then we skip down. We've got Adrian in the list of super chats here at the Shills. I'll match the 5 $100 PayPal donations. So this is the big one here, right? You guys throw in $500 in donations, and Adrian's gonna match it. And then we can, send Jana and Project Constantine, as well as the truck fund, the Medevac fund, some actual real money and go, yeah, we did that, right? You want to be a part of that. Come on. Nut Job in the chat there put in a member message, and I don't know if you're like telling somebody off or something, so I'm just going to kind of squeeze on by on that one, and I really appreciate your membership, but don't pick fights if that's what it was. If it wasn't, just tag me in the live chat and tell me what you actually meant, right? And then the Man of the Wood shows up with another super chat here. Always on the wound. We must not think for Putler, but against him. I like that very much. But Putler did have a message to throw in, so here, we might as well play it. Yeah, I didn't get it either. So who wants to take it away here?
It was in Russian. I don't speak the language.
I was just frantically Googling, is Putin a rational actor? And there are so many articles out there talking about this.
Yeah.
So if you want to carry on that debate, you can go and do some reading. Do some homework, guys.
What if he's a method actor?
Hey, isn't it the prof's job to assign homework?
Yeah, it is.
Stick to the roles,
Johnny's an
guys.
academic too, so I mean, I don't.
Oh, man.
It's all right. It's all right. Prof Curtis is going to mark it.
Got it.
Yeah, that's homework for me.
Oh, man. So,
PhD, pilot, higher and deeper.
Professor Gerda is there. I wasn't sure if we're keeping you past your time, or do you still have time? How are we?
I've got to
here?
bail pretty shortly. I would like to say, for the record, though, they were saying we're having a philosophical discussion, and we don't even have Johnny Pierce here. And I'm thinking, like, my PhD on count, or Okay, well, let's invite Johnny. That worked for me, I guess.
No, but you don't have philosophy in your YouTube name.
it's a
That's
doctorate
what
of
it comes
philosophy.
down to.
So,
No, but
anyway.
in your YouTube name, it's the YouTube name that matters.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
ATP stands for Atypical Philosopher. That's all you need. You just need to shove that name in there.
It doesn't matter about the degree. It's just the YouTube channel. This is all it matters. It's the internet.
I'm going to throw my cycling proficiency certificate out the window because it's obviously worthless around here.
that cycling proficiency, that's a very British gag as well.
Yeah. You know, without the Yoda outfit, you guys look similar. I'm wondering if you're related right now. Here, Professor G, before you go, there was a meme sent in the background. I got to show you here. But we were talking about the Russian meat cubes. I do believe that sells it. I had to bring it up. So, say your sign off, say goodnight, and we're so glad to have had you over again.
For whom? For me?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I end every one of my videos by saying thank you for being the kind of person that cares about Ukraine, and that's where I'm going to leave it for me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You guys love him. It's Professor Geres, the good doctor himself. Thank you so much for joining us. This link is the new link for the show. It's savable, and you'll be able to join in any damn time you want. Pop in.
All right.
Awesome.
That was really cool.
Yeah.
I didn't tell you this, but I actually have a PhD too, but it stands for Poor, Hungry, and Determined.
No, that's funny. So where do you guys want to go now? Here, where do you want to take it?
Well, I'd be interested to sorry, James. I'd be interested to see what people's general demeanor is or general mood is concerning how things are in Ukraine at the moment. Like on a scale of 0 to 10 in terms of like hope or how well things are going.
Okay, you guys talk. I got to race like a piss horse.
I am concerned right now for how things are progressing because we've got a situation where I think that the service that is wait a minute, I've got the wrong thing up on the screen there we go. Okay, so sorry.
Yeah, that's so much better.
Yeah, and then I go here and I go, I think here. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so right now I do believe that the force on the ground and the people that are fighting for Ukraine and whatnot are capable. But I'm sorry to say that the world as a whole is now letting political arguments get in the way of the funding getting there. And that is making a massive difference because the forces in Ukraine, if they just had more rocks for their slingshots, shall we say, they would be doing a lot better right now. And we as collectively as, quote unquote Westerners, we're failing.
Jana, what do you reckon?
Yeah. So I kind of look at it as kind of, I look at it from the Project Constantine side where I, speak with Pete on, we talk daily and we know what the situation there is, and things aren't good. The lines are moving, but not in the right direction kind of thing. And we've been, other cases we're able to hold it, but it's very risky and it's very dangerous. And then I also look at it from the point of view of the effect it has on civilians. and not just civilians in Ukraine, but on the diaspora as well. And a friend of mine she's Ukrainian, but she lives here in South Africa. And we were talking on Wednesday, and she was just like, you know what, I just made some canned tomatoes, because she's like, I'm suffering from anxiety and I needed to be distracted because the Russians bombed the coal power plant in the town where her sister and brother-in-law lives, bombed it 8 times and completely destroyed it. And the kids were terrified. And she's sitting there, and she's sitting here, and she's like, she feels like she can't do anything. Her mom, who is always the most positive person she knows, is no longer positive at all, you know. But that doesn't mean at all that they're willing to give up. You know, that doesn't mean that they're at all considering giving up. It's this, you know, it's this weird, it's this you know, kind of contrast between feeling absolutely defeated but still refusing to give up, that you're stuck with, you know. And I think that is the overall mood that I'm coming across. And you know, there's the whole thing of trying to find positivity in everyday small things, but
I think
the separation, the situation is desperate. I mean, Helena, our other co-director who's in Odessa, she just pointed out to me the other day, she's like, Jana, we've got Russians 200 kilometers to the east and 200 kilometers to the west of us in Odessa.
I
think
crazy, there can quite often be views from the ground that are really like on the micro level, and you can be forgiven for extrapolating that across like the whole world, really, and thinking, oh, woe is us, and it's terrible. And you know, here and there, and you know, the front lines. But then when you zoom out and understand the macro level, things can look very different. So I'm particularly positive at the moment about how Europe politically is waking up. Like this tiger is waking up. That you've got Emmanuel Macron just rallying the Europeans around him and saying all the right things and actually doing tangibly quite big things, like saying, right, we're spending 413 billion euros on redoing our armed forces over the next 6 years, and everything that we get rid of that is being replaced, we're going to give to Ukraine. Now that's absolutely huge. Then you've got Germany spending lots of money. Yeah, they're not giving the tourists, but spending lots of money. You've got people like Donald Tusk saying we're in a pre-war state here. Like this is scary, but it's good for Ukraine that Europe is going.
And Jonathan, this kind of thing, we're not talking about holding the line now. We're talking about pushing back and taking back and getting the lands back, right? You know, these kind of things can lead to the next step that has to happen, right?
Well, you've got the issues of needing more stuff. And then boots on the ground, and so the West can help with stuff. The problem is the US and Congress, and it's being dictated by a very small number of people, and that's super frustrating because actually there is a majority of people both in the House of Representatives and, as we already know, in the Senate who support Ukraine, and it's just MAGA Mike Johnson and it's a couple of other MAGA Republicans and Trump, essentially, the puppeteer, not allowing that. But generally, I think Europe is saying this is bad, like as in Russia is bad, Putin is bad, and we are now realizing how freaking important this is. We need to wake up, and that is happening. And that is, although it's bad news for like the prospects of World War III, it's good news for Ukraine's for sustainable support for Ukraine.
Okay, but Jonathan, let me just give you the flip side of that, and this is what I'm looking at on the horizon, and you tell me what you think. What about the EU parliamentary elections?
Yeah, so I thought you might say this. Yeah, I'm totally with you. Whatever you're going to say, I'm with you.
I mean, So we've got we're going to have a massive shift towards the right wing by almost every measure in France and every other country, and this is heavily influenced by the Russians. But in many ways, it's also influenced by people's social instinct that when they're afraid, they vote with their gut because they're not really paying attention. They vote with their gut, and they tend to vote more right wing when they're afraid. And Putler's been driving the right wing in Europe by virtue of forcing all these Syrian refugees and whatnot, and Wagner with forcing the African refugees, and he knows that he's driving a wedge into European politics. The European Parliament has been the most stalwart defender of Ukraine at times when the European Commission and the Council were sitting on their asses with their thumbs up their butts, and totally appeasing Orban, much less Putler. So
this is where it gets really interesting, though, because you're absolutely right. This is a massive discussion, by the way. But I've done too much talking, but I'll try and be quick. So,
Jonathan, never say that on this channel and speak your mind, my friend.
But this is where you understand that everything's connected, right? And you're absolutely right. So these June elections for the MEPs, member of European Parliament, is a massive worry, and Europe has a very big threat of Europe shifting, particularly to the right, to the far right, because Russia is weaponizing immigration and is stoking the fears of many people. So Marine Le Pen's National Rally in France, then you've got all over Europe, although there's some interesting right-wing differences. The Nordic states have some centre-right governments who are not aligned to that. You've got Giorgia Meloni in Italy, who is super right-wing, but the two right-wing coalition partners she's with are pro-Russia, but she's not. And so there's funky stuff going on. But the recent report that's come out, or the disclosure that the Czech Prime Minister Petr Fiala has just talked about with regard to the Czech security services, the BIS, and a Polish security service, I think ABW, have just come out and said, right, we now know there's Russian influence in European politics, and there's money that's going to European politicians, and the AfD, and they've named 6 countries with 6 basically far-right political parties being affected directly by Russia. You might see, my fingers are crossed here, that you might see a bit of a kickback where people go, oh, Russia, we are now getting evidence that Russia is definitely interfering with the political systems in Europe, and you might get a kickback. I don't know if you will, but it's interesting that now there's open debate about this, and the European Parliament has just called for investigations into Russian interference in European politics, and that shows how widespread the Russia's influence is. Their return on investment for their information game is insanely good for Russia. It's just insanely good, and we need to do something about it, and we're not.
When it comes to Jonathan, when it comes to information warfare, considering Intel and all these companies and Microsoft and stuff all being formed in the United States, it's absolutely pathetic where we stand right now, because we're being slaughtered.
Because essentially,
it's terrible.
We could be simplistic and say we're the good guys, so we don't play dirty. So they
fuck all that. Fuck all that. No way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but there is an interesting discussion to be had here. So if we try and fight in the information space and do war there, do we do what Russia do by point of fact that they disinform us and they foment discord and basically lie and put out lies, or is that ill-advised for us to do that, stooping to their level? But do we try and promote truth, but strategic truths and amplified truths back to Russia and say, look, or go back to Hungary and say, look where Russia screwed you over here in the past and screwed you over here in the past, and go to Slovakia and say, look about, rather than lie about what Russia's done, tell the truth about what they've done and present a positive idea of what the West is, a positive idea of what freedom and liberty is and democracy is and what it can achieve, and just try and deliver the hard truths about the realities of Russia.
Yeah.
Speaking for myself as a network and systems engineer, I used to believe in what Jonathan just said. I no longer believe that. We need to cut them off. We need to cut. We have the power to do that. They've been talking about it anyway. Microsoft has cut off a lot of services and things, but we need to cut them off from everything. Completely cut them off from the internet. Cut them off from Telegram. Cut them off from literally the world. They will be North Korea. That's what we need to do. And we have the power to do it. We just don't have the balls collectively.
It's interesting because that's also what Russia wants to happen. So Russia's been trying to create its own internet as a way of controlling the information space for its own domestic audience. And they've been trying to make their own, or they've been having desires to have their own Russian internet. And in fact, recently they've been trying to move or think about moving government agencies off into its own system, partly so it can't get hacked, and partly because they can really properly control stuff.
But they want to still continue to have that little connection so they can keep doing offensive warfare across the internet. And that's what we need to cut off, because they're cutting off all of their internal stuff anyway.
We need troll farms, but positive troll farms, like what I was talking about. Like at the very least, we need to be employing people to present truths and accuracies to the world. And as I say, it can be strategic truths, it can be things that you amplify for strategic reasons, but we need to be fighting, and we're not fighting in the information space.
We need to cut them off from Africa and India, okay, and China. Because China, that's where they're making their waves.
James, there's got to be 5 fronts on this information war right now, isn't there?
I know too much.
Yeah. Well, dude, I'm a hardcore techie who's been in the scene for years and stuff as well. We're gonna have to talk in the background. I have some shout outs to do like nobody's ever been proud enough to do on their channel. So let me just say, if we get $500 in donations, I'll match the $500. Yeah, fellow babies, holy shit, you blew that out of the water. So just give me a second here, everybody. Men of the Wood threw in $5 super chat there. Pololio! I hope Jesus calls Trump home real soon. We had another one in for 13 here. For the Medivac from Spider Fate fella. And we also had $129 donation in for the Boom Boom Fund from Silver Earth. And then Donna Matto came in and sent in another $7 for the fund. And then Alan Michael sent in a 30, right? So then we've got another here for 200 for the Medivac shout out. And it was, I don't need a shout out. I'm just a cool Canadian, right? We got Matthias Bernian sent in a $70 shout out in here. We got UTV, our newest member there and very active user, sent in another 15 as well. We've got another one from UTV here. Ukrainians needing the funds. We got Danny Carver sent in a $130 shout for the challenge. We had N Hill come in with a $50 boom for the matching Adrian fund. We had another one from Hanging Out in Bill's Garage for a big shout out. And then Adrian Wacker came in and just laid the fund to waste. So let me hit the alert, fellow babies, as we give him 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 booms for a $500 donation. Hashtag Medivacs. I'm matching Adrian and we're going in. Lord Thunder and Jesus, fellow babies. Everybody, hashtag feeling the love. Come on. Wow. I'm not even done with the super chats. I think I have a couple of more to try to squeeze in, but seriously, if I don't shut up, it's just going to be me spewing off by the balloon knot here. So, let's turn right to James here.
Yeah.
You've done a lot of news coverage and stuff. You've done bringing people in. You're talking to, you're spreading the message in a big way. What would you say if you had a message to YouTubers to say, you know what, we could do better? How do you think the rest of us could do better in spreading the message and really getting it across?
Hell yeah. So I'm working on that. I'm doing a lot of experiments with that because I'm just a little tiny YouTuber, and so I can screw up and nobody's going to make a big deal about it. That's why I hired a video editor to just do experiments. I'm trying to break through the pro-Ukraine bubble out into the wider audience of people who, will never watch a pro-Ukraine video or anything like that, but they do support Ukraine. They just like watching cat videos on TikTok or whatever. So I'm trying to break through that. I'm literally going on to...
We fight that fight too. I know exactly what you're talking about, man.
Yeah.
We have Yoda.
So I'm literally going... What?
We have Yoda.
Right? So I'm literally going on
pet.
to... I go onto YouTube once a week, and I find what are the most popular shorts, okay? And then you can do like a collaboration. So you do like 15 seconds of, like the most popular short that's getting like 17 million views or whatever. And then you can show whatever you want to show. So I'll do that, and it'll be like, cats, baby cats jumping, and then it'll flip to my screen, and it'll be like something like this, and it'll say, "Support Ukraine now." And what's crazy is it gets a lot of views. And I mean, I'm just doing crazy things like that to kind of break out of that thing. The second thing I would say for YouTubers and people who have platforms of any kind, whether it's quote unquote pro-Ukraine or not, is I have this Shopify website, and I'm really all about systems. I'm not just about like trying to raise money. I'm Greg Terry and Rick the Ukrainian, all of that. They're doing such a great job. Please give money to my drone raffle because those guys really need it. But I want to break beyond your viewers, beyond these viewers. I want to get out beyond that bubble. So I've got this Shopify situation, and what I'm doing is I've got an affiliate program, okay, and I'm configuring it. I'm working on it right now. So within the next week or two, I'm going to launch it, and then anybody who wants to support Ukraine, but maybe they don't have a necessarily pro-Ukraine channel or platform, they can put a link to this, and I want people to be incentivized to support Ukraine. So if that means that they need to make a little money, so when people give money to buy like I have like t-shirts, pro-Ukraine t-shirts, right? So if let's say that you have this platform, right? So you could potentially, if you so choose, get 10% commission on the t-shirts that are being sold. So I want to incentivize.
Let me do a thing here because Starsky couldn't make it today, but we do a thing where we overprice Starsky products in our store and send all the money over to Ukraine, right? And y'all deserve one of the stingers, so let's hit baby Starsky for the fellow babies here.
Oh my God!
It's an AI play. Yeah. And we've got mugs and whatnot in our store you can buy, and all the proceeds go directly over, right? Have some fun, we've had
that's really, really good stuff.
Yeah. We've had some fun
that's
with
giving me nightmares right now.
There's a few who say it, but we also I didn't get the pictures loaded. I'll try to in the background here before we go. But we did have somebody send in pictures of them with baby Starsky mugs at home and whatnot. It was really cool.
I would never drink coffee again.
You're probably not wrong. So, I don't want to take us too long. We're already coming up on 3.5 hours, right?
Yeah,
so,
I've got to shoot off to bed now, to be quite fair, to quite honest.
Yeah. So we got Liam Wakefield in with a super chat. Hijacking short cat sounds dodgy. Probably not wrong there. So let's go around the table here. We'll start with Dunk because you just haven't said enough today. So
I've just been sitting back, can't get a word in edgeways with these guys. Just blathering on all bloody day about something or other, something about Ukraine, I don't know. I only came here for the news and the cat pictures.
Dunk's all about the pussy shots. So, let's see here. We'll give Jana next here. Project Constantine updates. We've got some more donations to send in. By the way, fellow babies here, speaking of donations, we met that $500 mark out the park. Thank you very much, everybody. And keep that beautiful heart in your heart because you're doing a lot. Okay, there we go.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. And there's, oh my word, there's so many videos I need to finish editing and put out and everything. Leathercat, there's going to be a thank you video for you on Rick's stream tomorrow, just by the way, so that you're aware of that. And then I also have a video of a car. It's almost done. I haven't done it yet, but it's short, so it's almost done. But it's literally the car we were driving it for like 2 days and then everything's just falling apart again.
Oh no.
So
Was
just
it a
like
Lada?
No, it's a Mitsubishi Pajero. And it's our nice one.
Wow, they're usually so good. Yeah.
This is our nice one that we got from Exxon. And this is like our top quality one that we never have issues with. It's like 2 days. 2 days in Donbass. That thing is in the mechanic.
Wow.
So I just need to put that video out and get that sorted. And then we're going to have some other videos, that are coming out. Yeah.
So. Love it. And with Pete, he's about to sort out the new microphones. We got him the DJI twin set of mics. So not only will he be able to really convey his message on the videos, but he'll be able to interview people proper and talk and stuff. It's going to be really cool, fellow babies. Make sure you head over to Project Constantine and sub, because you've got some front line. If you're a Ukraine community person, somebody who really, watches and follows the live streams and stuff, you've got to be subbed over there for what's coming. You've got to be.
Yeah, and then Helena and I are also going to work on putting out some content ourselves for Project Constantine, because Pete isn't always available.
Mm-hmm.
So we're also going to see if we can get some people like,
Should we do a second microphone fundraiser then?
I'll ask Helena.
Yeah.
But it's been really difficult to convince her to even agree to this.
Yeah,
she's
but
also a bit camera shy.
Yeah, but
So-
you've got to convey the whole, you're going to have to actually join us on the show thing, right? This is building. It's going to have to happen.
Yeah.
Right? There's no obligation to be the big voice of the channel. Just show up and say hi,
Exactly.
Yeah.
So no, I'm definitely gonna, but she and I, we've got a plan for at least one interview that we're gonna work on.
Cool.
And that will then be on our channel as well. So we just need to get that sorted and everything. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So let's turn over to Jonathan from ATP Geopolitics. I'm so happy to have had you on the show, dude. And this is a link. This link you joined us with, you can bookmark it and save it and jump in any Saturday you want.
I've memorized every lowercase and capital letter in that string, and it's burned into my retinas, and I will never forget it. Thank you very much for inviting me on. It's good to hang out with you guys. It's only going to be a few short hours before I get up and do it all over again tomorrow morning. I have my daily routine of like creating just insane amounts of content because for some reason people keep invading countries or keep invading the same country. I just like every day it's like, haven't you stopped already? Haven't you realized that you're the bad guys? There's a great sketch from a British bunch of comedians called Mitchell and Webb. Go and check it out on YouTube. Some of you might have seen it. It's called Are We the Baddies? Right? It's where you've got David Mitchell and Webb. Mitchell and Webb are dressed up in the SS uniforms and they're in this bunker and one guy turns to the other guy and says, Klaus, have you ever wondered whether we're the baddies? And he's like, have you ever looked at the uniform we're wearing? It's got skulls on. Like, are we the bad? Anyway, and so it goes on. And then the idea is that they are the baddies, right? And it's obvious that they're the baddies. And then I just think when it comes to Russia and Ukraine, this is the war that is the most morally clear, as far as I'm concerned, in any kind of evaluation as to who the good guys and who the bad guys are. You know, it's not Israel-Palestine. It's not all these conflicts over time where you're like, oh, yeah, there's a bit of involvement there, there's a bit this, there's a bit that. This is very clear to me, and I know that you can still talk about NATO encroachment and all this kind of stuff, but you know, Russia invaded a sovereign nation, and they have committed
damn fucking right they did.
Hundreds of thousands of war crimes, and they're still doing it, and they're still the bad guys.
Jonathan, I would say to end that for you, other people are involved in absolute conflict. Ukraine just wants their home back, right? It's different.
Yeah, and what frustrates me with the whole, Russia-Ukraine war is that when people start trying to blame like the US or NATO or even but that kind of way of thinking is like to forget that Ukraine has its own agency.
That's
as
right.
if Ukraine is merely a political football to be kicked about between Russia and the West.
Yeah.
And actually, no, Ukraine. What do Ukraine think about this? What do Ukrainians think about this? Let's have a vote. Who liked being liberated by the Russians?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay, that vote's in. It turns out that
Zero.
we were right. Russia are the bad guys.
Yeah.
You know?
Those of them who are actually still alive.
Yeah, and so we forget to talk about Ukraine when we talk about the causality of this war, when we talk about the who's responsible, so on and so forth. So
Yeah, man. Totally agree.
Definitely.
Now, before I turn to James, our big guest of the evening, I want to do a couple extra shout outs here because the pot has still thickened. So, loving the fellow babies here. The effort tonight in fundraising has been absolutely incredible. And we go back to Bill's garage. His mama was screaming, "Turn it down." And he threw another $20 into the hat and he was like, "Hey, what gamer nerds are here? I've been trying to recruit to spread a narrative on Project Reality, anti-Vatnik." Okay, so everybody go and check out Project Reality, anti-Vatnik. It's Bill's garage and obviously a big supporter. So do it, fellow babies. You got that in you, right? We also got Liam Wakefield. Liam's a mad guitar player who's been doing some good tracks with Chris Durham Music Channel and stuff. So go check him out. Hijacking Shortcat sounds dodgy. Yeah, that was in reference to previous there. That's a good one. And then we got Pavi. I'm not sure what the accent there, how to say that. Another super sticker, and that was it looks like a rubber chicken taking a slap to the back of the head. I'm not really sure what's going on there. But I'll take it. It's awesome. So let's turn it over to James from Why Ukraine, the Last Alliance, to give us the last words of the day and tell us how he really feels.
Well, as I sit here in the dark in the middle of Ukraine, right smack dab in the middle, and here I am. So two things going back way back in our conversation about like is Putler a rational actor? Oh, what's Putler gonna do? Never forget that Putler is a coward. He's a coward in his heart. Everything he does comes from a place of fear. Okay, and fear is the emotion of cowards. Why do you think he has all these body doubles and he's afraid to go amongst the people and touch anyone and all of this, sits on these big long tables? Because he's a coward. So thinking about like, oh my God, is he going to push the nuclear button? Well, no, he's not, because he's a coward. Okay, so that's my statement about that. The second thing is this is something a lot of people aren't talking about enough, and I think it needs to be talked about. If you want to know what's holding Russia back right now, because Ukraine is on thin ice, on a freaking shoestring right now, just riding on fumes, guiding the last mile to the gas station, waiting on shells and everything else that are maybe going to come in June. We hope to God. We don't know. The only thing that's holding Russia back right now is Rasputitsa. Okay, the Rasputitsa, it's raining cats and dogs here every other damn day, and that's really the weather. Okay, the weather gods are playing a big role in holding it back, and I know for a fact that Putler is just waiting for the moment when it dries up and it's starting as soon as it gets warm, first day of April or whatever, right about there, and that's when we're going to get hit hard and fast. And people think it's like a stalemate right now. It's not. It's a race. It's a race for the next 3 months. And it's going to be crazy for the next 3 months. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
Or can I just throw in the Ukrainian word for Rasputitsa, which is Bezhderizhia? I think something like Bezhderizhia. Just to give, we don't want to give Russians the language power over this.
Huzzah!
Good
something
shout.
Like
Good shout.
Thank
Dunk, Dunk wanted to get in because when great minds think, great minds speak.
And when they shut up speaking, I'll come in and finish off, because I just want to say thank you everybody for all the super chats and everything tonight. You've been absolutely wonderful. Now we've got to look. I'm looking forward to next week's fundraiser when Dick is going to be trying to provide a Shure microphone for every single soldier in the Ukrainian army. So be sure to come back for that one. It's going to be great. It's going to raise millions. And also, don't forget, we have the Sunday pub chat, which if I look at my clock, I think it's about to start in about 10 minutes. So thank you very much for hanging around for this extraordinary marathon stream. And we'll see you on the next one. Slava Ukraini. Bye-bye, everybody. Don't forget to hit like on the way out. I'll do that right now. Hit the little button.
Crap, I haven't even done that.
Speaking of Dick Duncan, you can finish me off anytime. I love the Baby Yoda look.
So did you say speaking of Dick Dunking? What?
Yeah.
No, Dick Dunking. That's our special show.
That Yoda guy with the funny face, he made that. That guy is an Emmy award-winning visual effects artist, right? And that's why his avatar is so damn good. Right. And that's also why our intros and stuff, not this one, I did that, but the other ones are really good. Right.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I've got nothing to do with Dick's dress sense, so you can't blame me for that.
Yeah. No, neither does anybody in my life because I'm a slob. So let's go right to James. Okay, hold on. Remember, to voice your opinion. We live in democracies. Your voice is supposed to actually count. So voice your opinion to your local, regional, and national governments. You want to make sure that your voice is being heard, that you want government support for Ukraine. As much as we do collectively, and I mean, look at what Greg Terry did. He decided he was going to raise $200,000 and he did it in like 5 weeks or something. What is that? What is that? How does that even happen? But as good as that is, governments throw around billions of dollars, right? You know, so you've got to make your voice heard. I don't care if you're using a stamp, if you're using carrier pigeons, 56K dial-up modems or whatever. Make your voice heard. Now, we'll turn it over to James again for the last word before I hit the boom button.
Don't forget to thank the team, Mr. Dawson.
Oh, yeah, right. Sorry, James, 1 second. I was about to, do a boo-boo faux pas. Oh. So, our team around here makes this show possible because, collecting your questions and doing the super chats and donations so I don't miss any shout outs and stuff. Like literally, there's so much being done for us in the background. It's not funny. So let's give a big shout out to the team here. We got Sia Beauty, who is speaking for us on the Shills in the live chat right now. She runs the whole thing. Literally, I'm not even sure when to set my alarm without checking with her first. We got BME, the mercenary moderator, Janine Terblanche. We got Shayna Caldwell, Crazy Cat 1, Something Blonde, the Kraut, and Liam Wakefield, the man with the unbelievable hands that plays great guitar. Check his stuff out. There, did I do my... I did it. I'm done. Say goodbye, everybody, and we'll send ourselves out because...
Stick a fork in his ass. He's done.
Bye, everybody.
Yeah. Sometimes you poke your pork from the side. Other times it's right up from the rump. Good night, fellow babies. We'll see
Stay
you
chilly.
Bye, guys.
It's over. Go home. Go.